So I didn't realize that Mark Cuban like loved the steak in the Mavericks, but did you see what he said like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
About like if you'll ever get rid of Luka.
Yeah.
Oh, is he divorce
said,
thing?
Yeah, he said if it's between Luka and my wife, I don't remember how he ended, but he was choosing Luka.
No, like we're gonna go file some divorce papers.
Yeah.
No.
And now he's out, and so is Luka.
What I think LeBron's going to retire. I think that LA needed a new superstar, and they were like, "Let's bring in a new superstar. We'll put him in the Lakers jersey. We'll get butts in seats." And then I think LeBron's going to retire.
He's having like a Griffey Jr., Griffey Senior year, and then done.
That's what I think.
You don't think he'll do like a tour, like what Kobe did?
A goodbye tour?
Like LeBron, like a year where all the away arenas make a big deal out of it and all that.
Probably.
He might. Yeah, maybe he'll give it one more year.
Yeah.
But that was my thought when I saw the trade. I'm like, okay, they're getting ready for the next phase, the Lakers.
Yeah, they need a new star.
Brady loves sports talk. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. He loved it when we talked about football last week.
I was the person who sent an internal message that you guys talk about football too much. This is hunting season all the time. We should not be talking about football.
Was that from
football
a burner
so
account?
boring.
Like any comment that was made that we talked about football too much? I figured all 4 of those comments are from Brady from 4 different accounts.
There is something, though, in the hunting community or industry, whatever you want to call it, where it's like the cool thing to hate on sports because it's during football season for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the ego side of hunters or the you know what I mean? But they always fight sports.
I'll give you a quick. I'll give you a quick 2-second thing about why.
Let's find out why.
I was asked constantly, and when I was growing up, do you want to play football? I said no. I want to go hunting. I kept asking in high school, do you want to play football? We really want you to play football, Brady. What like? You'll be a star.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I want to go hunting. I kept declining it the whole time.
Totally understandable.
Because weekends were hunting.
What keeps you from enjoying just an amazing
Why would I watch an
I never played
entertainment thing
football.
that doesn't add value to my life at all? It doesn't add any life value.
Neither is basketball.
Basketball is not during hunting season, though.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
I don't know what for whatever reason. So we've been doing a lot of like internal research and all this stuff, Porter and I, about topics and starting new podcasts and what they could be about. And I just keep saying, like, hunters just only want hunting podcasts, it seems like, because we do all these little focus groups and all this stuff. No one, hardly any of them pay attention to sports, MMA, which is also a sport, but like no one does.
I've never watched MMA.
Only hunting. It's really interesting.
I know nothing about MMA.
I don't think that's true. I mean, I'm as into it as it gets. And
into what?
Hunting.
And you don't watch sports.
No, I do watch sports.
Not like you're not in depth about it though.
I think most people watch sports.
That's what I feel like they do, and they just kind of.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah, to shoot it down. Yeah,
I could get your point about it's a cool thing to hate.
Is that why you do it?
No, I just generally don't enjoy watching a football game. Besides for I'll watch the Super Bowl, of course. It's just a fun thing to do. Mainly for the commercials. The commercials.
You're not boycotting the Super Bowl.
Why would you boycott the Super Bowl?
Everyone's boycotting supposedly the Super Bowl
because they think it's rigged, or what?
Because the Chiefs, yeah.
Here's the thing: everyone hates greatness. Did people hate Jordan?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I like him.
Greatness,
I like him more now that I did that.
when the Lakers are going for their three-peat.
Do you watch The Last Dance?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I love MJ after The Last Dance.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, Air, the movie was great.
That was a really good movie.
The whole story's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have guests
before
today.
we get in trouble for talking about football.
Yeah, I'm like, we're 4 minutes in. We've got about 6 more minutes before people start bitching and
turning
moaning.
it off.
Yeah. Did you have another comment you want to make? You can make it.
No. No, my comment. It's fascinating to me for whatever reason. Hunters they don't want sports talk, which you would think the two go hand in hand so well.
Maybe they
they don't.
Maybe they want sports talk from sports professionals that talk about sports all the time.
I also really appreciate, because I am a genuine deep sports fan. Football, MMA, like deep.
Soccer.
Not soccer. But like those are my sports. I appreciate hearing other people like me talk because I want to see what they're saying too.
Yeah, you want to hear like from the
I don't
real
just want to hear the
way.
analysts on TV all the time. I want to hear like my peers talk about it as well.
Brady, I think people should feel lucky that we didn't spend 15 minutes talking about the Premier League or like the upcoming MLS League, getting kicked off.
define upcoming MLS League.
Or Anyway,
You did ask before. If
I won't go too deep.
You did ask before if I want to talk about the Luca trade, which I was texting people about that this weekend.
You
because
were?
that was-
Uh-oh.
Breaking the whole thing down.
You're breaking your own
Talking about
stereotype.
sports. Here we go.
Yes, it's true, but it's not football.
Talking about still sports. Still sports.
Fair enough.
We have a hunting, a sports hater who's a hunter talking about sports.
We're going to talk hunting. We'll talk hunting. We're going to have Brady recap Brady and Lane. We want to hear about your hunt that you just went on.
And if you guys watch any sports while you were there.
Yeah. I saw Brady playing pool. Is that a sport?
No, I don't know.
No.
Brady's actually a very strategic. This shouldn't come as a surprise, but a pretty strategic pool player.
Yeah,
and
not surprising
knows
at all.
all the rules and is verifying what the house rules are versus some of the pool halls he's played in his life.
Really?
Not surprised.
Yeah, so
I
he
didn't
knows
know
his
that.
angles. He knows the.
I did take a college course on
And pool?
pool. Yeah,
So did I.
it was
No
a good
kidding.
elective course. I needed.
Hillis is a great elective.
And it was really fun.
Yeah.
And
I
then I
see a
started
future
playing more.
match going on
I
here
took-
between the two of you with some money on the table.
Yeah,
I took pool and ping pong. Those were my two electives for PE.
Are you a good ping pong player?
I was, when I learned how to play it from a real coach in that class, I did get pretty good, but I've never played it since.
You ever watch ping pong in the Olympics?
It's
It's
insane.
amazing.
It's
I'm surprised ping
unbelievable.
pong's not a popular sport to watch.
It's unbelievable.
It's vastly entertaining.
It is one of my favorites. in the
Badminton
Olympics.
as well.
Yeah.
Did you watch badminton in the
No,
Olympics?
no.
Unbelievable.
I watched breakdancing. That was about it.
Badminton, I was like, wait, what? This is amazing. These volleys go on for days.
And they're so athletic.
Incredible.
It's unbelievable.
What
I'm
are-
surprised. And then there's always drama in those matches
For
too.
sure.
Always. They play them so tight.
Who are the powerhouse countries in badminton?
Just take a guess. Table tennis, badminton. Just take a guess.
I'm gonna guess China to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Asian countries.
Asian, yeah.
yeah.
They get a knack for it.
They just got a knack for it.
Thanks for jumping on with us today, Lane.
Thanks for having me.
Lane said he was going to go to a budget meeting of some sort, and he said, I'd gladly skip the budget meeting to come
That's a
jump
good
on the
choice.
podcast.
Heard
Yeah.
that here first.
Yeah, this is gonna be a long one.
As long as you can stretch
As long
it
as I
out.
can stretch it out.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me.
I want to get to know Lane a little better on the podcast, and we're going to talk about you guys' hunt. I thought we'd talk a little bit about drought and what that does to animals, and take a look at the index. I've been getting lots of questions about whether people should burn their points this year, so I thought we'd address that. And then Brady said something earlier to me that
You quoting a private channel message?
yes, I am. I'm going to
Gosh,
do that
I'm
right
not-
here live. Brady said he would never badmouth California ever again.
I don't know if I ever have fully to be out there, but
Usually Brady has nothing but just filthy things to say about California up
Yeah.
until this point. I'm just kidding, but he did.
Trail tipped me off on this DM,
yeah.
and we got to get into that.
Yeah,
We got to understand that.
yeah. I want to understand why you would say that after going to California and hunting.
Allegedly.
Well, come on now.
You notice I never said it.
All right,
I never said it in
Brady
the
never
post.
said it. I said it.
It's one to
Might have been
put the record out there. That
It
you
might
said
have been
it, I mean,
Texas.
It might have been.
It might have been
have been.
Texas.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
but it was. Yeah.
Thought we'd talk about that. Let's hit promo. Lane, I gave you a heads up. You're the marketing guy.
I'm usually the one feeding it to you.
What do you got for promos for us that we want to hit right now for folks that they ought to be aware of?
First and foremost, obviously it's the Arizona deadline tonight. So by the time this podcast goes out,
You're already too late.
that'll
Have you
be
guys
too late.
applied yet?
I have not applied yet.
Nor have I. You?
Top on the pile, man.
You haven't either?
I'm
Have you?
applying
Either.
last
I'm kind of
second.
nervous. I told you earlier we have to really do this after this podcast because Arizona's website is
It's
notorious
notorious. It
for
is.
crashing.
Arizona system is the only one that I can really think of that I've had issues
Same-
with.
same.
And you have to go all the way through on the elk side and then complete your cart and then
And
go
then
back
all the way
in
through on
for
the antelope
every
side.
same information all the way back through. And you can't, it doesn't really have a shopping cart. You can't add multiple items.
It's really frustrating.
What year is it? 2025? Yeah.
Something like that.
I think.
Sorry, I don't want to roast states, but
Anyway, sorry. So we've all got that to do.
Yeah, we've all got that to do. But obviously, a lot of upcoming apps for rest of February, March, April. So great time to sign up for Insider. So the podcast promo gonna get you $50 back in the store when you become an insider. I see a lot of people talking about free shipping too. We never really say that, but if you're an insider, you
true.
get free shipping
Man.
on everything too.
Way to go.
That's why we got a marketing guy.
That's why.
Do you know what? That's a big deal.
I can't stand paying for shipping.
Yeah.
Me personally, that's where that came from.
Especially when you buy
Like
those
literally,
small,
I
small
hate
items.
it so much. I said we are not going to do that.
The other day, I had to buy a part, that little side thumb thing for my Sig Sawtooth rifle. I just wanted to buy an aftermarket part. The shipping was more than the part.
Yeah.
And it came in an envelope. I'm like, you really charged me $7 to ship that?
Yeah, absolutely chaps my ass as personally when that happens.
And it came
to
in
me.
an envelope. You could just put a stamp on it. And
I hate it.
It didn't weigh anything.
So since the beginning, we said we're not going to do that.
That's a really good one, actually.
Yeah.
Because every time I buy something from somewhere and I get shipping, I'm just like, ooh, gut punch. It actually determines. I've actually bought things from other places because of shipping, obviously. But I've shopped around for shipping costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, that's an added benefit of that. But President's Day sales also coming up. That's going to be, I think, the 13th through the 23rd. Yep. That's going to be an e-com deal. So most people don't know I'm sitting next to George Washington right now. Going to make his debut.
I can't wait to see what this skid is that you're going to put me in. You asked me guys yesterday. You guys asked me if I wanted to be George Washington yesterday.
You're the only one tall enough to be George Washington.
Yeah, he's huge.
Do you have wooden teeth?
It's horse teeth, slave teeth, and wooden teeth.
Yikes.
We
won't touch that one.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Leave that one be.
But Brady's going to be George Washington. So that'll be a fun one. And I guess that's the big promo stuff for this month. Obviously, shameless plug for this jacket Trail and I are both wearing. We getting tons of questions about that one. So really looking forward to, if you're at the Hunt Expo, stop by and check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be at the Hunt Expo next week.
Be at the Hunt Expo. Otherwise, keep your eyes peeled a couple weeks later when the jacket.
Are we leaking the name on the podcast?
Sure,
of the jacket?
Go for it.
The Atmosphere jacket?
Atmosphere jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we just leaked it.
We just leaked it.
First.
You always tell me to give more information to our listeners.
I am all for it.
Give us a rundown on what it is.
Yeah, price point $199.
Yeah,
Atmosphere jacket.
$199.
Solid piece.
Yeah, it's awesome. Brady and I both wore them last week, and so it's Primaloft insulation, kind of a lightweight ripstop on the exterior. So
really tough exterior, which is cool.
Yeah, it's really tough. We wore these last week. I'd had the prototype before that had more insulation, and that was a little bit too hot. So it's been fun to see us iterate.
Yeah, that's
a
what
little
I wore in New Mexico.
Yeah,
and it had too much. It's an active insulation piece, active hunting piece.
Yeah, you've been testing it since September, and I think we might have had some earlier. Yeah, August.
I tested it in August, and then that big hunt in September.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then we passed it through the rankings here, and then it went on a duck hunt with who was that?
Some of my buddies, Harrison and Damon out in Kansas.
So they tested it through that, loved it.
Yep.
This thing's been through the ringer. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great for kind of moving, stopping, glassing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's warm to the touch, so you put it on in the morning, and you're like, dang, that thing's pretty cozy.
Yeah.
But in other scenarios, when you're like taking off your vinyl harness, and if you're wearing orange, taking off your orange and putting your jacket on and off, this is kind of one where you just leave it on, and it'll keep you warm when you're stopping. It's not going to replace a down jacket or anything like that, but pretty good when you're hiking too, and not having to take things off and put them on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So really excited about it. It's going to be this cinder gray and then this camo as well.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 options to start with.
And then when's it launch for everyone else? You're not going to be at the Hunt Expo.
If you're not going to be at the Hunt Expo, it's going to be early March, and you'll hear about it. We're going to be pretty noisy, pretty proud of it, but I'm actually kind of worried they're going to sell out.
Yeah, I am too.
So we'll see.
It's a good problem to have, but I don't think we
get one early.
I don't think we went big enough.
Buy early and often.
Yeah.
Give us a rundown on the Western Hunt Expo. It's like, what's the booth going to be like? What can you expect if you pop in and say what's up?
Yeah, booth's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be it's made out of like a barnwood pallet type thing, so it's going to look pretty cool.
Different location.
Different location.
So if you've been to the expo before, you kind of used to see us up there by the Mossback booth, kind of on the south end, I guess, of the expo center. We're going to be kind of back in that nook now, back towards closer to
the cool kids crew.
The cool kids crowd.
Yeah. We're kind of kitty corner from Mountain Ops, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh
the
man,
cool
I'm gonna be
kids
so jacked.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna be banging out push-ups all week.
Just 800 milligrams of caffeine before noon.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna take everything we have, but I think we're also gonna take some of the stuff we've been testing. And so if people want to stop by and see it, and a lot of it actually is not, I don't think, final. So it's gonna be a good opportunity to get people's thoughts and see what they think. I wouldn't be surprised if you show up and some of the prototype gear has scuff marks and dirt and stuff like that on it, because it's been used, and we don't have a whole ton of
we want to use it as a focus group opportunity though, from our customers. So I think it's pretty cool too. Yeah. Let them be a part of it, see it early.
Yep.
Get their thoughts.
Yep. So there'll be a lot of that up on the walls and mannequins and stuff like that. And then in the very front of the booth, we'll have Nate up there. Some computers going. So if you've heard of Insider, if you've heard everyone here talking about it, have an opportunity to go see more about it and talk to Nate, and he'll give you the rundown. So we always have the obligation to kind of service everything we do, which can be tough, but it'll be Insider kind of research stuff up front. And then the rest of it will be not only gear, but massive photos of Brady, as it turns out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, how that happened, I don't know.
I want to let people know I was not involved in any of it. I haven't
You were
seen
not.
any of
That
it.
was all Ami's doing.
Yeah. So giant banners of Brady.
Yeah.
Sick.
Ami's the one that did that.
Cool. Shout out Ami.
Yeah, I saw the booth last week. They were staining it in the warehouse.
Oh, I know. I went out there and shot
Contact
arrows
kite.
in the evening.
Yeah.
Went out high as a kite.
High as a kite. I literally went back there to look at it and walked back in my office.
And I was like, man,
oh,
I'm going back there all the
shit.
time.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Trail's in there for the fumes.
Yeah, it was strong.
Oh,
Hopefully it's dissipated a little bit.
yeah.
I saw you bought your bow. I was going to go shoot with you tonight.
Oh yeah, I brought it. Yeah, I've been flinging arrows, man. Shooting 2 games in the morning, 2 games at night.
I have not been.
Getting lots of arrows downrange. It's fun, man.
So you're going to be good for Archery Madness is what you're saying?
Maybe. I mean, I've only shot 19 and a half yards. So it's from my kitchen through the open garage door into the back corner of the garage. And my wife walked by the other day and she's like, have you missed the target? And I was like, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe a few times.
Maybe.
Yeah, just tinkering, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun, man. Like I don't know, man. I'm really into it right now. It's just indoor archery's been fun. And my scores are going up. So I shot like a 289 and a 292, and then I shot a 295 the other night, which is about as high as I've ever shot bow hunter. So it's fun. I was talking to Neville though, because Neville's going to come down and shoot Vegas, and he has like a regular league night, right?
Yeah.
So he goes and there's like tons of people on the line, and I had to laugh because he's like, yeah, I show up, and he's like, they put me in line, I get there, and he's like, wouldn't you know it, the guy immediately like right in front of me is left-handed, so he and I are like a foot from each other, and
Face to face.
we're face to face. And I said, what are you gonna do, because it's really crowded, right? Like when you get on the line and you shoot like a regular shoot, like they pack them in there, and you've got 4 people on a butt.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was thinking of getting those blinders for my hat, like one of either side, so I'm just in a hallway.
Neville would do that.
And Neville would do that, but I didn't think it was a bad idea. But yeah, it's been fun. Been shooting a lot of arrows. It's been good.
Good for you.
Are you going to be competitive in Archery Madness against you should give everyone a quick rundown of what that's going to look like if you haven't already.
Yeah, so we're still working out format exactly, but we're gonna do Archery Madness. We nailed down a date.
February 28th.
28th.
Yeah.
Yep. Here at the office, so we're gonna kind of kick off at 5 o'clock in the evening. Even if you don't shoot a bow, we're inviting people to come down. We're gonna do like a little community get together. We're gonna do food, drinks, and then but I would encourage you, bring your bow. And we're going to put up a $500 gift card to the gear shop.
Yep.
And we're going to have a format. We'll probably utilize the iron buck and do some shoot downs, and we'll eventually whittle it down to a winner that's going to win $500 in the gear shop.
Yeah. We want to get the peanut gallery going though.
Yeah.
It's supposed to add to the
To the hype. Yeah. We want to put some pressure on people.
Yeah.
Put some pressure. Yeah. There's going to be I think we're doing more prizes too.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've got
some giveaways.
Got some stuff from SIG and Tricer, and we're going to have a big package to win. So
yeah,
pretty fun event. Should be kind of a come hang out. If you don't shoot, great. There'll be burgers and beers and whatever, and should be really fun.
Yeah. And reality is, I don't think you have to be the best shot to win, because
no,
there'll be some hijinks in there as
yeah.
well, some chance. Then man, pressure does funny things to people.
Does.
You turn the lights on and you get a big crowd behind you, and you got some cameras and stuff. It does.
Especially the different type of pressure. I doubt a lot of people have ever shot their bow while somebody's talking shit to them.
It'd be a great chance to invite some of those haters we always get on Archery Madness about, you guys' form horrible. Like, you guys are missing at 20 yards on the iron buck. And it's like, you ever shot under lights? You ever shot under with the camera with the whole internet's going to watch you?
I should say the actual Vegas shoot is the following weekend, so it kicks. I think it's like the 5th through the 8th. So if there's anybody in town and you're a pro shooter, come down. I would love to see some pros lying out. That would be great, man. It'd be hilarious.
The lights are a completely different type of pressure.
Yeah,
you can shoot in your backyard, and then obviously there's a pressure of shooting at an animal, but the lights is a completely different type of pressure let's just say I made an early exit last year. Very early.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Right on. So yeah, come see us at the expo. We'll be up there next week. Yeah. Anything else? Things are rolling.
Things are going. Things
Yeah.
are moving and grooving. Just kind of, I mean, you guys are doing all the hard work of all this app strategy stuff and learning people up on how to apply. So yeah, think really busy around here.
Lane, how long you worked for GOHUNT?
About 3.5 years.
Not long enough.
Has it been 3.5?
Yeah, it's been about 3.5. I think.
You know, you got a good thing when it goes quick, you know?
That's why I said not even close to long enough.
Yeah. Is that like, what do you mean by that?
Like, you know, it's the opposite of somebody overstaying their welcome.
Oh,
Like, we didn't get you early enough and we haven't had you long enough.
yeah.
We need you for a solid 15.
There we go. Okay. Well, I've been in Vegas for a month, so
But
we're
not
on the right
16,
track.
just 50.
15
Or
is solid.
whatever it is.
I'm
just threw out
like,
a
shit,
number.
I'm looking at my clock. I'm like, I've been here 8. So
The trail got some ways to go.
Same with trail, not
I think
long
I've
enough.
got 7 more years.
Yeah.
We need you guys to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you liking it?
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, man.
give us a rundown of what you do here.
I guess a little bit of everything. I mean, primarily head up the content and marketing, but you know, you guys have a heavy say in everything that you're doing. So, yeah, kind of oversee, help out where I can, jump in on the things that I'm good at, but make sure the team's rocking and rolling across. You know, we're very content community forward business. So primary goal of that is connecting with people and then making sure they know what we do and how to use our stuff and that they like us. So
Lane holds us accountable and does marketing ops and throws his ideas in, which are very good
Yeah.
when they're needed.
He's a dynamic guy.
He is.
He's got his hands in a lot of things.
Yeah. And he's a twin.
I'm a twin
I didn't
where it
know that
comes
until, I keep being reminded of that.
until recently.
Yeah, like I hear it and I'm like, oh yeah, file that away, and then it disappears, and then I hear it again. I'm like, oh shit, he has a twin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never know if his twin actually came to Vegas for meetings or if it was
They're
actually Lane.
identical.
Yeah.
You're identical
Very
twins.
hard to tell
We're
apart.
very identical.
Do you guys have like ESP? Like you can like communicate?
I
Trail.
wouldn't say that, but no, definitely not that. But we're very, like, our personalities are so similar. Like, so without even not having like telepathic communication, like our wiring is the exact same. And so there'll be kind of just things that happen where we're just very on the same page or say the same stuff or whatever. But I'm not convinced that you see those things about like you put them in different rooms and you scare one of them and the other one's like blood pressure goes up.
Yeah, or you pick random numbers and the other one predicts.
knows it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
knows it like 95% of the time.
I think that's a hoax, but I do think growing up right next to each other and the exact same DNA, we're pretty well on the same page.
God bless your parents, because if I had 2 turtles right now, could you imagine?
It'd be hard. It'd be
If I
a
had
lot.
2 turtles
It'd
right
be a
now,
lot. You'd hope they got along. Did you guys get along?
I mean, yes and no. Like any two boys that are, you know, into sports and all that type of stuff. Like, yeah, we get along very well as adults and did as kids. But like, I vividly remember my mom coming home from work one time and there was like a teenager-sized and shaped hole in the drywall, and we're like, she's like, "Which one of you was it?" And we're like, both kind of like, it was kind of both of us.
You were like, it was him.
Yeah,
I
it was
definitely
definitely
threw
him.
that.
yeah,
wall.
it's kind
Definitely
of the
that guy.
paradox. Like, if it's his body, then it's his fault, but I was the one
Yeah.
that threw him in, or vice versa.
was your oldest a real active kid?
Yeah. They're pretty. They're not like super rambunctious. Any of my kids
No.
aren't. Yeah.
I mean, turtle's not rambunctious, just very active.
Yeah.
It's just always practicing football in the backyard or shooting bows or riding 4-wheelers, or it's always something.
Yeah.
You imagine having 2 of those at the same time?
My middle kid's probably the one that's most responsible for broken items in the house. Like put his foot through like into a TV, brand new big screen, flat screen. It was a bummer.
My kind of kid.
like Dallas Cowboys fan style, or was it on accident?
No, he was just like doing backflips and
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
That's a turtle. That's a turtle.
Yeah. Taught himself to do back handsprings, did a backflip, slammed his leg into the TV and ruined the TV.
That's what I mean by
Attaboy.
a turtle.
Yeah.
That's my kid.
We've
Every
had-
day I come home and he's like got some new experiment that he wants to do.
Some shattered glass doors here and
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happens.
How's your move going to Vegas? How you liking it?
I like it so far. I mean, it's 65 and sunny right now, and so I was out for a run on Saturday, and it was warm and sunny and like just kind of life changing. I came from Missoula, Montana, where you guys obviously both went to college, and it's cloudy most of the time and super cold, and so I was texting my brother, and he's like, "What'd you do today?" I was like, "Oh, I went for a run. It was really nice." Sent him a picture, and he sends me they're bundled up ice fishing.
Wow.
And so you kind of forget when you move down here. You kind of forget like different parts of the country are in a very different time of year. Like it's springtime here, and it's going to get hot soon. Like we saw that on Sunday. It started a little bit. Yeah. So that's been good. I mean, it's kind of a honeymoon phase for us because it's warm and it's nice and all, and it's not very nice back where we came from. But it's pretty easy. We loaded up a big snowmobile trailer and moved down in one day. It was a very long day. But we're getting settled in and kind of figuring out where we like to eat and grocery shop and getting used to the traffic. That's the one thing everyone warned me of is the driving and the traffic. But getting used to that.
It's really not that bad. Yeah, like
comparatively,
it's gotten worse.
It's comparatively though.
It's gotten way worse.
Depends on what you're comparing it to.
My first day.
Missoula.
Oh, gotcha.
Where I lived in Missoula, Malfunction Junction.
Yeah.
I would have to go through there. It was a pain in the ass every day. I would say the traffic here, granted it's freeway traffic, which you don't get there. But like that surface area right there at Malfunction, like I was stuck there every day going to school and coming back from school. It's very similar to how it is on the highway here.
Yeah. My first morning a couple weeks ago coming to the office, I was this close to getting in a wreck. Like 10 minutes into my first drive. And it was like I changed lanes right when someone else did. So getting used to that. But just being here and it's really hard to be collaborative and creative remotely. Yeah. I just got so sick of working remotely. So, I'd like talking to the dog all day type of thing. So it's good to be around people and be social. And I think our team's, in a really good spot. A lot of creative ideas coming around and everyone's working together well. So it's been fun.
Good. Right on. Well, do we want to jump in and talk about, what do we want to talk? Drought first? Do you want to talk about California? Brady's favorite new state. Allegedly.
Let's go talk about this elephant in the room, California.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. So give us, I want to hear, guys, I want to hear about your hunt. And then I want to dive into a little bit about California and why you think it's such a great state that people should be looking at as far as application.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So give us the rundown on what you guys just did and why.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just basically returned a couple days ago from a hog hunt. Me and I both went over there. It all started really randomly, which is kind of a cool thing about how a lot of hunting things work. You meet hunting friends and just random connections. I got a DM back in November from a guy, Mason, and he joked about it too. He's like, "Oh yeah, Brady's so busy, he missed my DM." And I was like talking to him about coming out to California to go hunting, and it's true. He's like, "I understand. You probably get a million DMs," which I do. There's a lot of them.
All chicks too, by the way.
Oh, what?
All chicks.
I mean, according to the
females.
feedback we got, it was moms.
A lot of moms, a lot of cougars.
Somebody sent a question and they said, "Did Brady break up with his girlfriend? Why is he sliding in my mom's DMs?"
Okay.
So you got some explaining to do, Brady.
No, it's funny, and I've got that before. Do you get a lot of girls DMing? I'm like, no, I do not. It's all dudes.
All hunting.
Asking about hunting questions.
All dudes.
All dudes.
All hunting all the time.
No sports whatsoever.
No sports, definitely. Lord of the Rings memes. I have a lot of people sharing Lord of the Rings memes with me.
So hunters are cool with Lord of the Rings, but not football.
Yeah, because you can watch Lord of the Rings all the time, and you can read it all the time. They coincide very well together. Mason sent me a DM back in November, and unfortunately I missed it. I was on a hunt at the time. And then kept missing it. And then later on, he re-tagged me in one of those Spotify rap things. You can rank your top podcasts you listen to over the course of the year. And Go Hunt, Big Hunt Guys podcast, was one of his top podcasts. So I saw that, and I was like, shoot. This always helps when people send me a double DM. So that was basically a double DM, a month later. But I was like, dang, sorry I missed your other message. If schedules can align, and we want to do something together, I would, it'd be awesome to go out to California and see your place, do a pig hunt, and let's see if we can put something together. And then all of a sudden from there, we just started snowballing, started texting him all the time, changed numbers. He ended up coming to Vegas for the NFR. Him and Travis actually came over. And so I got to meet him in person, started talking about pigs, started showing him a bunch of pictures. And then from there, it was just okay, when can we do this? How soon can we make it happen? And then it was boom, boom, boom. We're doing it a couple weeks.
Did you learn a lot about pigs while you were there?
Learned a lot about pigs. I mean, I've hunted the thing is, I have hunted them before. I killed one. I was either 12 or 14 from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my second big game animal. If we can count well, I want to hear your thoughts. Does wild boar count as a big game animal?
It's big and it's an animal. We'll give it that.
Yeah. So
we'll save this argument for another day.
Yeah. So like I had hunted before, but I don't remember a lot of it. So like I did learn a lot. And like to me, maybe we're just gonna jump ahead a little bit, but like hunting pigs in the place we were at in California, it's straight mountains. It's not like you're sitting at a feeder in a certain other state that they hunt off feeders. I'm not going to roast them, but you know what state I'm talking about.
Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's straight mountain hunting.
Yeah.
Like it's super steep, glassable country. Some of it's really thick, some of it's really open, and there's just, you're going to work hard to go try to kill a pig. And it reminds me a lot of, again, Lorenzo's not going to like this, reminds me a lot of spring bear hunting.
Yeah.
Like the style of what pigs do, how they're constantly moving, they're never really stopping. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, if we're gonna try to take a shot at this pig, and that one that you tried to shoot at, like it just kept feeding, and like you couldn't, like it was 400 some yards, it kept moving. You're trying to let's try to get a new range. Let's get a new range. Let's adjust the gun. Like bears do that same thing. They're just always constantly
just
feeding.
For
and
clarity's sake, I am all for spring bear hunting. I think it's awesome, and I would do it because it's in the spring and there's nothing going on. I just don't consider it a big game.
I think that's the answer. I mean, a pig can't be big game if a bear isn't.
Right? There you go. That's what we'll save this argument for another day.
We should have we need a full podcast on this. Just like we need a full podcast on mule deer versus elk. But anyway, it reminds me a lot of that. Like glassing, the demeanor of pigs compared to, they're both boars.
Yeah.
You call them, a male hog is a boar.
Yeah.
And black bear's a boar. Sow, the same thing. But just like, I don't know. I really appreciate, hunting in, because it is like, it's one of those off-season hunts again. You can go, you can train, you can do, it's like a bear hunt.
Yeah.
You're testing out your gear. You're getting out of that cabin fever. You just got done with hunting. All you want to do is hunt, and you wish it was fall again, but it's not fall. So what can you do? Like, well, some states offer, 365-day hunting seasons for certain species. So it's kind of cool.
You can hunt pigs there 365 days a year.
Year-round, yeah.
Is there a quota?
Nope. You have to buy a non-resident hunting license.
Okay.
And you need a pig validation,
like a
stamp in a sense, yeah.
And is it good for one pig? Is it good for
however many you want to shoot?
Really?
Yeah. But the only problem is, which you'll see, I did get a lot of hate from people because, pig hunting most of the time in California is on private land.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 91% of all pigs taken in California are taken on private land.
Gotcha.
And so there's not a lot of public hunting opportunities.
You got
for them.
shit for that?
What?
You got shit for that?
Yeah, I got a lot of shit for that from quite a few people on both my Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome.
And they're from residents of California.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They made it seem like, looking at you having success pig hunting, it was very obviously a private land deal. And I don't see why that's super important, but it seems like to them it's pretty obvious. And from what the guys told us down there, they said it takes a lot of work to get a pig on public land, and
sure.
Scouting and knowing what you're looking for and kind of figuring out what they're doing. So.
And a lot of times you said like they might be just the tiniest pig ever.
Yeah.
Like a pig you're probably not going to be that proud to take. So it's like, if I did go on public land and shot like basically a piglet, I'd probably get roasted then too. Because like I can never win.
You can never win.
Which it'd be cool to do it on public, but the opportunities are so small, and it's like it's one of those things that the state is managing it. So it is one of those weird areas that I do understand people. We talked about that with Mason too. Like so, state kind of wants them to be removed in a way, but they're not eradicating them. But then, private land people realize that they can, make some money off pigs,
Absolutely.
just like everything else you can make money off of. And so I think people are just upset that, you kind of almost have to hunt them on private, and to hunt them on private, you're probably going to pay a little bit of money to do it.
Must be nice, Brady.
Or you could probably still do the old knock on the doors thing and still trying to find a way to do it. Like there's always ways to do it, or like say, hey, I don't want to hunt a trophy pig. Maybe you got any pigs, just any sort of pig I just want to hunt. So that was just a weird thing that I experienced.
Did you get much of it? Like, what's the history of pigs in California? Do you know?
Yeah, I'll pull it up over here in a second. Give me 2 seconds. I had the document for our hunt. Actually pulled up the whole life history on it and when they were reintroduced, which is pretty cool.
Were they weren't reintroduced? Was it just the?
No, it's an introduction. It was like basically a double thing. Why isn't the internet working here? You ever pulled up?
We're a tech company. That's why the internet doesn't work.
You work for a tech company? Yeah. It's finally working. Give me a second, Trail.
Yeah, no worries.
So, pig history.
Are they, how many like, what's the population like? Did you get a sense of like these land? So it's private land, right? Are they managing it? Did you get a sense of like more for a trophy size of pig, or is it more of like a population habitat, detrimental to landscape? Are they trying to remove them, or is it kind of a combination of both?
Where we were, they only wanted us to shoot boars.
Okay.
So it wasn't an eradication by any means.
They like them.
They like having some around, yeah. So they wanted us to focus on boars and hopefully some of the bigger ones. So Brady got, not to spoil the surprise, but Brady's was king of the mountain there.
Hogzilla?
Hog Johnson.
Literally. Hog Johnson.
And the one that I ended up getting was a nice boar. He wasn't, you can look at him and see there's a different echelon of age or a different tier of age between the two. But my point is they were boars only. So they didn't want us to wipe them out. And hopefully the larger boars, but sows were off limits. So they were not trying to, wipe them off the landscape. And his perspective, and I think this will come out in the film because we did an interview with him, but his perspective was that they don't do enough, at least where they were, they didn't do enough damage to want them off the landscape. Mm-hmm. And they kind of liked him until we showed up, they were really using him for like new hunters and friends that were kind of interested in getting into hunting and the opportunity to go do that. So that's what they like him for. And we went through, we'll probably get into some of the areas we saw him kind of rooting around later, but the guys have, what'd they say, 2,500 cattle on that ranch too.
Okay.
So if they were, the pigs aren't causing detriment to where the cattle, which is how they make a bunch of their money. Pigs weren't causing detriment to where the cattle business was in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably because there wasn't pigs everywhere. But we could look down into the on the hillsides and see where they were rooting around.
You could literally see them from where they were the day before. Like the ground is just torn up.
Yeah,
like it does get torn up.
They get after it.
They get after it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said sometimes when they had groups of if they're like groups of pigs, 50 or 60 large, they might have to go in there and kind of break them up a little bit to try to hopefully split apart them, and so they stop hanging out in that big groups, because when they get that large of groups, then they kind of can do some damage together, because then they're just moving around all day feeding.
Do you call it a herd of pigs?
We're trying to figure that out.
No, I think the actual term is a sounder. A sounder of pigs.
I kept calling them a gaggle.
Gaggle of gazelle too.
Yeah.
Or no, I think gazelle is an implausibility. When we went on a family trip in South Africa, and they don't ever use herd for everything like we do. Yeah, they use
They don't say a herd of wildebeest?
No, I think it's an implausibility of wildebeest. Some name I can't remember.
And they all have their own?
They all have their own. A gaggle of whatever. Each species of animal has its own name for a herd. Gotcha. It was really interesting. And the native guy would tell us every time. I'm like, yeah, that's a herd.
I never thought about what a group of pigs would be called.
Sounder.
Yeah.
A sounder.
Yeah, I don't think we used that once, but we did.
I would only use
we were joking around talking about it.
I would only use technical terms.
So I have the information pulled up now, and I talked about this on the film a little bit, this is why I think it was cool, because I always want to learn a lot of things when I go on a hunt about the animal I'm hunting.
Sure, especially something you never hunted before.
I want to read about it. So in our document before we went over there, I added a bunch of these notes in there, and it's I'm just gonna read it off now because it's kind of cool. So pigs are native to Eurasia and Northern Africa. Early 1700s, Spanish and Russian settlers introduced domestic pigs to California as livestock, and many became feral.
So the sounder is correct. A group of wild pigs.
There we go.
Yes.
So they've been around since the 1700s.
Okay.
But and then they, as livestock, and some became feral. And then in the 1920s, a Monterey County landowner introduced a European wild boar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a wild subspecies into California, which bred then with the domestic pigs.
So we have a mixer going on.
Yeah, the result is introduction is a wild boar / feral domestic pig hybrid.
Mix. I couldn't help it. Okay, keep going.
Real quick, wildebeests are a confusion of wildebeest, or in other cases, an implausibility of wildebeest.
Wow.
So I remembered that one.
A confusion of wildebeest.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
Yeah, I get it. I see the link. It would be confusing.
And so wild boar, feral domestic pig hybrid. And then until the 1950s, wild pigs were unclassified under state law and could be killed with no restrictions. And then in 1957, pigs were designated a game mammal by the state legislator.
So they're managed by California Game and Fish.
Yep.
Probably not Game and Fish.
Yeah, they have methods to take, and then there's conditions for using dogs in California, which is kind of interesting because you can't use dogs for anything else, but you can use dogs for pigs.
Really? So you can still run pigs
Did they
with
have
dogs.
No, they didn't.
No,
No.
they didn't have dogs.
But then one of the other interesting things, so you'll like this, Lorenzo. So wild pigs were reclassified. So I said earlier that they're kind of a game mammal. Wild pigs were reclassified as a result of SB 856 in 2021. Wild pigs have been removed from the definition of big game. This is in California, and reclassified as exotic game mammals. Despite this reclassification, wild pig hunting remains in this big game hunting digest.
There we go. That's up my alley.
That's up your alley. So
I'll
it's more
accept
like
that one. Yeah.
It's okay. So,
Yeah. Got it.
but they're a big game.
I'm on board with that.
I'll
one.
say that.
That sounds,
I mean, technically,
that sounds just like semantics. That sounds like some California shit right there. Like, we
yeah.
don't really like
Well, tell you-
something being called a game animal.
Wouldn't
Let's change it to an exotic.
to have a 365 season and no cap, the easy thing is just
Yeah.
classify them as exotic, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Then it's their own thing.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's part
Yeah.
of it.
What are populations like?
So that's what's really interesting too, because this is why, like, when I was talking about, I'm not going to give California shit ever, is like they actually do a lot of good data around like pig hunting. If you want to know, like they list the top counties, how many pigs are taken in every single county. So I was like really diving into all the stats, the harvest stats, or what's it called? As Zuck put it,
Conversion rates.
conversion rates.
conversion rate.
The
The
conversion rates of pig hunting.
pig hunting.
Oh boy.
I love that. That's how we reference hunting.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So what I found was really crazy though. So from 2006-ish to about 2013, wild pig sales were like at their peak, like almost 60,000 pig tags sold in the state of California.
What years?
2006 to 2013. And then from 2013 down to 2019, it was on a steep dive, like tanking down to about, looks like 47,000. Obviously saw a little bump during COVID. So 2020, it bumped up to almost 55,000 pig tags. And then since then again, it's now tanking back down to the 2019 levels of, roughly 47,000 total pig tags sold in California.
Interesting.
So I don't know what's the deal, from 2006 to 2013, why it was so high. And before that too, it was lower. So it went up.
Is that probably like the housing recession? Like 06?
Yeah, that's through the housing recession.
That would have been the year. I'm trying to think. The year I bought my house and moved to Cedar was like
08 to
06,
012
08,
was-
yeah.
08 to 012 is, or 08 to 12
Yeah.
is when that's like when the real hard hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so pig hunting, it's a mandatory harvest report as well. So they know.
You do have to do a mandatory report?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to take it to a biologist and do a weigh all and all that?
No, it's just online.
Okay.
But like, so here's some of the harvest stats. So they're pretty much averaging almost, 3,700, 3,800 pigs taken a year in California.
Out of 48,000 tags?
Out of, right now,
Tag
we're probably
holders.
looking at 45,000. If this data is 20.
So harvest success isn't that high, really.
No.
Let's run some math real quick. What'd you say? How many were killed?
In 2023, there was 3,327 pigs taken, and it looks like roughly, you can say 47,000 tags sold.
Doesn't that open up the possibility
7.
of some people shooting many pigs?
Yeah.
So like that, even if it was 1-to-1, that's low.
That's true.
But
If it
you'll
was
have
1-to-1, it's 7% harvest success.
Wow, way low.
have some
Yeah.
people that are shooting
Sub 10.
5 or 10 out of that too.
Yeah.
Makes
It could be too. A lot of people these could be residents just picking up a pig tag because they're on public land. It might be
That's what I would do. Yeah.
So like I think the stats are probably a little bit skewed because of
Yeah.
that.
That's what I'd like in Nevada. I pick up the mountain lion tag over the counter every year just in case I see one. Never do.
Yeah.
And like the harvest stats are kind of on a slight decline. Like they were the stats that I have sitting in front of me, which isn't all of them. In 2016, their peak was 4,637 pigs, and since then it's been kind of on a decline down to 3,327
So really
in
not that
2023. And it seems like they do take about roughly the same amount of boars and sows per year. It's not like it's not directly 50-50. It's maybe like 60-40.
Does the state have good knowledge on where they are?
Oh, yeah.
Like where they're confined to?
Yeah.
Are they statewide or are they confined? Like where's their grounds at?
So pigs were reported to be harvested in 43 of California's 58 counties in 2023
Oh, wow.
2024.
So it kind of is
They run,
statewide.
And
The site says they exist, not taken, but exist in 56 of 58.
Wow.
And the variety of habitats range from woodland, chaparral, meadows, grasslands. Seems like
Man, they're
Everywhere.
all over
Kinda
California.
anywhere.
then.
all over
Yeah.
California, which is kind of surprising when you think about
I
it.
wouldn't have thought that. That's why I asked the question. I would have thought it would just be like central north kind of a thing.
So
What?
here's the cool thing though. So 43 of the 58 in 2023 pigs were taken. 6 counties though accounted for 65% of the take.
Gotcha.
So they do have like a.
Do you know what counties
Hotspot,
those are?
Yeah.
Offhand,
Are we
does it
giving
list
the
them?
information to the people?
Yeah, man. Always.
Okay, the top 6 counties were Monterey, 25.8%. San Luis, I'm going to do the last part. We'll say San Luis,
Obispo?
15%. Obispo, yeah.
That's where my brother went to junior college.
Kern, 8.3.
Shout out JC.
Tahama, 7.
Shout out
I'm probably
JC.
murdering these names, sorry. Mendocino, 4.9. Santa Clara, 4.3.
Huh.
Okay, now here's the stat again. I guess I messed up before when I said 91%. Across the entire state, 87.5%, 2,911 of wild pigs reported being taken on private land, while only 6.8% were reported being taken on public land. An additional 5.7 were harvested on military land, leaving 0.1%, which is only 2 pigs supposedly unreported. So not a lot on public, 6.8%,
Yeah.
and then military
Well, I
is
mean,
5.7.
just California as a whole. I mean,
There's just,
Yeah,
they're
just
very
not.
few and far between. As
Depends
far
on
as
the
public.
species, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was really interesting. And then they break it down by county, and you can see all the stats on it. So like they do have a lot of good information if you're trying to learn about, okay, is the place I'm going, even if it's an outfitted hunt on private land or just a private land hunt you got invited to go on, like, is there going to be a lot of pigs? Like, what's your expectation potentially be on pigs, which I thought was kind of cool to look at.
It makes me wonder what's regulating population, because my understanding, maybe you can correct me, tell me, pigs reproduce pretty prolifically. God, I can't talk. Do they breed year round?
Yeah, wasn't Mason saying like 2 to 3 litters?
I think he said up to 3 per year, and it was like 4 to 12 per litter or something.
Yeah.
So up to 3 times per year, 4 to 12 piglets per litter.
Yeah. And I do believe that, but the math of what we were seeing didn't work out as that many became adults on the landscape.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think a lot of the piglet survival cannot be that high because there were so many. We saw so many eagles, bald eagles, golden eagles sitting everywhere. There's coyotes everywhere. There's giant populations of mountain lions, as we all know in California.
Damn.
I think
and then a lot of the state, there's a ton of bears too.
Yeah.
Sexual maturity, 6 months old.
Yeah.
Well, that goes into
Gestation?
account what we saw on there.
Yeah.
We literally saw piglets.
6 months old.
Getting it on.
Yeah, Brady and I saw multiple.
Pig love.
Gestation period, 115 days.
Oh,
It's
wow.
2.5 months.
Yeah,
Nothing.
they
Yeah,
get
they're-
right after it.
4
They
to
do.
12 piglets per litter, and breeding frequency 2 to 3 times a year.
So
Wow.
Mason's spot on.
Yeah,
Shout
he's
out Mason.
super spot on. And
Unbelievable. How
Yeah.
come let's get some deer and elk doing this right here.
Yeah.
Let's get these populations up.
Or let's just get some pigs.
Or that too. That's
to
insane.
grow antlers.
6 month breeding?
yeah,
It's insane.
so there wasn't that many pigs on the landscape, like I said, to suggest that they're all making it. But I think it'd be a great place to be a mountain lion or an eagle.
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
well
we
fed.
kept joking about like mountain lions just must think those things are candy. It must be so easy for
Oh,
them.
so
sure.
easy. And we don't need to get into all the details, but Brady and I kind of saw firsthand the reproductive drive of these pigs, especially the piglets.
It was really crazy to see these piglets. Like,
Bunch of Chris Porters running around on the mountainside.
No comment.
no comment.
Chris Jackrabbit Porter.
I had to throw that one in there.
What's how many were you seeing then? Like what's a typical day hunting pigs look like?
So what? That first day we got there, Monday evening, we went out and did some evening scouting.
Yeah, I think we saw 3 sounders. 3
Yeah.
sounders.
3
that night.
herds?
3 herds, 3
No,
flocks. Yeah,
just sounders.
Sounders Trail.
I guess
Sounders.
they were
I can't.
probably
I didn't know what he meant when he said it. I was like, wait, what?
probably 20 in each, maybe.
Yeah, 20 in
give
each,
or
I'd
take.
say.
So we were the first night we got there. We kind of went out and drove around just to get a lay of the land as it was getting dark. Saw where they were, and then the next day, they seemed pretty habitual. The next day, they were pretty much back in those spots in the morning.
Are you getting up? When are they? Are pigs active like deer, elk? They're
Again,
crepuscular.
it's like a bear hunt. It's like a bear hunt. People say they're not active in the mornings, but like they're active in the mornings.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people say that about pigs, but like you can hunt them. We were up every day, leaving by 6 a.m., like well before first light.
Yeah.
Getting up there, like in the dark, sitting there, then just waiting for the sun to come up and start glassing right away, and like kind of glassing for pigs. But we're also listening for pigs
Oh, really?
Yeah.
because you
Really?
can hear them actually making like little squeals, and they fight together
They
and
fight
stuff
all
like
the time.
that.
Yeah.
And I actually saw a lot of pigs, like they'd be walking, feeding, all of a sudden they turn around and just slash each other with their tusks, and like you hear pigs squeal.
Yeah.
Do they get out?
Really?
They fight pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Really?
when we were waiting, they were
That's
kind of
interesting.
not to jump ahead, but when they were kind of balled up waiting to shoot Brady's, like it was it was kind of getting old. It was like, okay, these two piglets are fighting for like 10 minutes right in front of this pig Brady's waiting on. So yeah, they were fighting a lot and squealing a lot. And we would have, it's not like an elk where if it hadn't bugled, you wouldn't have seen it. Like we probably would have seen these things anyway, but there was multiple encounters where we heard them before we saw them.
How far away are you hearing them from?
So that was the first day. So Tuesday we were sitting there trying to glass this canyon where my pig was. We're gonna say my pig's name because it's kind of
Hog Johnson.
You can say it.
It's like you hate naming things, but Hog Johnson. Yeah. it has a reference. I don't know if Lane wants to explain exactly what the reference is.
No,
do the math.
No, it's actually a road name. Yeah, saw it on our street sign. But anyway, so that's what Brady's.
So we're looking for this pig in particular because this is the one that like Mason had done some scouting. So obviously, it's property, and he sent me this video. I think it was January, like early January, the first week of January. He's like, this is the pig we got to try to find. He's like, it's got a big giant split ear. He's got at least 300 pounds and giant tusks. And I'm like, that's the pig I want.
Are they different colors?
No, he said they try to manage color in a way. Like if they see multicolored ones, they try to harvest those at a young age to try to make them all black.
Really?
Most of them, I would say 90%, over 90% of the ones we saw were black. There's a couple that one of them was really gray.
Red and gray kind of thing.
A few like red and whitish, but almost all of them were black.
And that's kind of like what they're managing for.
Seems like
more of a wild looking pig.
Interesting.
Yeah, seems like it.
And so that first morning
you would feel different, wouldn't you, about shooting like a
pink and black spotted one?
Yeah. I would feel differently about shooting that versus
because it's more of a farm animal,
more domestic looking.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like a big haired up boar, like you think of when you think of a wild pig.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to your question and can't answer in a second. But first off, I want to say what Mason really did, what I should really appreciate is like you can make a pig hunt as easy or as hard as you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you probably could. I mean, they're just like hunting javelina, it's like you just got to play the wind. Mm-hmm. They're not very good eyesight. They're not really great at hearing. You just got to play the wind. Especially if you're so obviously there's roads on a ranch, for cattle to like go manage cattle and all that. But like
so they don't see very well.
Don't see very well, and they don't hear very well. They can just smell.
Okay.
And so what we did that first morning, which was Tuesday, is drove up into the mountain before dark, parked the side by side, and from then on we hiked.
Okay.
We could have kept driving, but like he's like they can actually like. I mean, they can't hear that great, but they could hear some of these big old boars can hear side by side, and they know it means probably someone's hunting.
Will they run from you if you get winded?
Oh yeah,
like they're clued into that they're being hunted.
Oh yeah, they will run, and they're fast.
They are fast.
Really?
Those little guys can motor like Brady said. It was mountainous, and there was parts that were rocky. It was pretty legitimate, like steep landscape, and those things are just. And I don't think they really have knees that work very well, so it's just. Kind of pitter patter.
They're cruising.
They can
get away.
Uphill.
And so like that's why we parked and just hiked, which I appreciated because we want to make it more difficult to hunt. It's more fun just to get out and hike than sit on a side by side. Let's be honest. I want to hunt. And so that's why we're sitting there trying to glass for that split ear pig, and either Mason or you said like, oh wait, do you hear that? And it was actually pigs squealing up the draw from us. It's like I don't know how far those were away.
Give us your best impersonation.
I'm not doing that for
one
free.
Of you,
quarter mile.
Maybe if we ever do like a paid podcast where only the members can listen to or something. I'm not giving that away for free.
Yeah, you don't want to get that for free.
Oh man!
So that was maybe a quarter mile, maybe a half mile away, maybe something like that.
I
like
bet
around
a couple hundred yards.
Yeah. Around the bend, and we heard them squealing, and it's like, oh, there's pigs.
Okay.
So you would probably appreciate that. It's kind of like elk hunting. So
yeah,
we heard the herd because they were
trying to call one in. Is that a strategy that anybody uses?
Not one we put out there.
Yeah, we didn't try that. I was going to bring a call just in case, but like I didn't.
You
know
have to ask your buddy.
Call them in?
I don't know. I mean, like you can call like javelina in, but it's using like some.
I would think you probably could.
I would think you could too.
I bet you could get a big boar because they kind of seems like the big boars rut all the time, if you will. So I bet you could.
I'll bet you could
call a big boar in.
Yeah.
Because the big boars, not to get away from your story, but they were in their pretty tight pods, but the big boars do break off and roam a little bit. We saw one this morning. Brady's describing, but so I bet you could if you kind of made the presence of a sounder of pigs. I bet you could get one coming in.
Yeah, he was saying some of these bigger boars like to hang out by themselves, like any big animal does. But then every now and then you will catch them with a herd, but then the next day they could be all by himself again. Like mine earlier in the year was all by himself constantly, and then Lane spotted a giant one that same morning that we're about to describe that was like all by himself, just like wandering and cruising. But it's cool hearing them because then we honestly know, hey, there's pigs here. So like just start walking up the road and keep looking down below, and all of a sudden we spotted them. And I don't know how far they were, like 100 yards away.
Yeah.
And kind of at that point, like, okay, like we just had the rifle this day, right?
Yeah, I hadn't shot my bow that morning since moving from Montana down, and I was like, I need to shoot this thing before I take it out. So we just took the rifle out.
Yeah, and then
No bow.
And then of course we were like, if we had the bow, there'd be no way these pigs would be like sub 100 yards, and you could easily make a stalk on these with your bow.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if we didn't have the bow with, that's why they're there.
Yeah, of course.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, so we ended up like kind of dogging that group a little bit because I had to wait for them to all walk away and like trying to make sure the wind was right, and the wind was kind of horrible. But eventually, kind of dropped down this little canyon and started kind of working their way up. And then we got over there, and then I don't know when you saw that big boar, but that you spotted a big boar.
Are you sitting and glassing, or are you just kind of walking?
We got a lot of like getting up to a little high point and sitting and glassing for like 10, 15 minutes and glassing all that country, and then packing up and moving to a different angle and kind of glassing 10, 15 minutes.
How far are you glassing?
Long.
It was a long way, well out of shooting distance, even for a guy like
And
Brady.
what do they look like as far as like your image? Like, what would you compare it to glassing up?
Bear.
A bear.
A bear, but
Okay.
there's 15 of them, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's what I learned was easier if you can like find the herd, because you can see it's like, oh, you're gonna see something moving, a big thing move.
Yeah, because there's cattle that were black, and they're obviously bigger and stationary. But the first night when we saw the first group, he kind of said, that's what you want to look for, and we kind of said they move around like a school of bait fish almost. Like they're all just kind of moving, and the little pod is morphing in and out of different shapes, but they're just kind of cruising. So you just kind of look for smaller black spots that are moving.
All different sizes?
Yeah.
All different sizes, from piglets to big giant sows that look like they're gonna drop piglets any second.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like huge pregos.
Huh. Do sows have tusks?
Yeah.
God, I know nothing about pigs.
Me either.
And that's why I think they're just really, really cool, because they're all very unique.
Yeah. Give us a rundown on the one that you found that you ended up shooting.
Well, so
You shot first, right, Brady?
Yeah. But at first though, Wayne spotted this a big boar. He's like, oh, that's a big boar, and we're like, it's first day. We all kind of want to figure out, kind of hunt a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's like, we can lay down, probably shoot this thing right there. And so like,
It was like you want to shoot that one if you can.
yeah,
It was
a big boar.
Yeah.
And so I took the rifle, I set it down, did not give Lane any sort of guidance on how to work my bipod. All of a sudden, Lane's like trying to set it up and adjust it. The pig kind of goes over, and then my rifle like falls on the ground. And I'm like, Lane, I've never let my rifle do that. Never. And it's only falling from like 12 inches, but I'm like, I've never let my gun
That one was my bad.
Beyond shocked you even let somebody else shoot your gun.
Well,
or even the thought of you letting somebody else
But
shoot
instantly
your
I felt so bad. I'm like, I didn't teach you anything about it. I have that MDT Skypod.
Yeah.
And it's
Which is
very
sweet.
confusing. Very confusing how to use if you never used it before. Once you use it once, you know how to use it. But I was like, I set you up for failure right away. I was like, laid you down. I'm like trying to range and like trying to tell you dial. And little did I know you were trying to figure out how the bipod worked.
Yeah.
And that's
I would
funny.
still take accountability for that, but that was foreshadowing because I dropped my bow the next day as well.
You did.
Kinda
drop
clumsy.
it. So you hunting with Lane, yes, you want to have everything padded and protected.
Yes. Yeah.
He's hard on his stuff.
He's hard on his stuff.
I was the reason I didn't bring a gun is because it's all copper, and I've only shot AccuBonds and stuff like that. So I just asked Brady, "Can I shoot yours?" Because he's all copper guy. So
And I
He
was
must really like you that he let you shoot his gun.
I don't think it's going to happen again. I actually never shot it. And right after that, like we went and got our stuff, and Brady like, I'll carry the gun from now on.
he kept asking if you could carry it. I'm like, no, I got it.
So that one got away though.
That one got like, but that's the crazy thing. Like I said, like they just never stopped moving. Like that would have been hard for almost anyone to get on. Like even if you knew the gun, like it would have been very quick. Because like by the time you'd have to lay down, try to range, try to get the gun comfortable, try to dial, try to adjust everything, try to dig a little on your bipod. Like sure, you could just say, oh, just lay down and rush the shot and shoot. But like you owe it to the animal to make a good shot. You know?
for sure.
And that pig just went up and over the ridge and gone all over sight. And it's like,
Did you ever glass up any pigs better?
It's hard to say. The other thing that reminds me of the bears is like you don't have a great reference point.
Yeah.
It was a nice boar. I don't think we saw any that we would say were definitively bigger than Brady's.
that one.
Brady's ended up, not to spoil it, being I think the biggest one they've shot on the ranch, right?
yeah, ever shot. Yeah.
Wow.
I was wondering if that's like a guided fishing trip where you go and they're like, dude, this is the best day we've ever had. And they say that
They just
to
tell you
everyone.
that? Yeah.
But no, but that's what they told Brady.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But like that big boar going over the ridge, you look at the terrain we're hunting and it's mountain terrain. Like it just dropped in another canyon, another little bowl, and things like, oh, we can go turn it up. But like it's heavily timbered in some areas. Some areas it's more open, and they do a really good job of managing their forest. I thought was super, super cool. Like they're doing, prescribed burns on things. They're collecting, deadfall and like burning stuff to like manage their property, not only for cattle, but for, other wildlife as well, which was super cool. So some areas you're like, oh yeah, we'll be able to turn those pigs again. And other areas they go into, you're like, yeah, that's your typical, California country where you might not turn it up again. And so we thought we could turn up that pig. Yeah. And we had those other ones in front of us. So that's the funny thing about like, you kind of feel bad every now and then because you had the wind right. Eventually we got the wind right where we walked up this little road and we're just kind of following the herd of pigs, the group that we're not going to shoot because there's not a big one in it. But we're just like walking behind them, 120, 150 yards away. And the pigs are just like feeding and walking and you're just going behind them. And it's like, you kind of feel bad that they don't have better senses in a way. But hey, not everything can be mule deer, right?
You just get what you get. You don't throw a fit.
But then we kept walking behind that herd. They finally, or sounders.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess I got to use when I'm talking about this. So they went up and over the hill. We got up and over this big rock pile. Like this was a pretty steep little push we were making, and fortunately we all had like tons of layers of clothes on, so our ditching layers.
Cold?
Yeah,
chilly mornings.
We had frost on the ground in the mornings.
What elevation? Do you know?
Around 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't actually that high of elevation, but like steep.
Yeah.
Like steep. We get up there trying to glass around a little bit. There's another herd, or the same herd was out in front of us. I was starting to digiscope them a little bit. We couldn't find the big one that we're trying to get Lane on. But then someone saw those pigs again. Like we saw them earlier in the morning, the pigs way up on the ridge. And early in the morning, we didn't see a big giant boar with them. And then we're like, oh, there's those pigs again on that far ridge. Let's digiscope them a little bit and glass them. So I'm just looking at them like, there's no boar here. Like small boars, but nothing big. And I'm still not a judge at all, like expert
I would think
judge.
they'd be hard to judge.
But like
unless you saw a lot of them together.
It reminded me
next
kind
to each other,
of our aoudad hunt, where like we kept thinking like, oh, those are good aoudad.
Yeah.
Until you finally see a big one, you're like, oh, okay. Now I know what we're looking for. So like when we saw the one that Lane was trying to go after, we kind of got a good reference. Okay, this is what a big boar looks like. But he wasn't around a lot of other pigs, so it's hard to judge. But then I'm digiscoping, and all of a sudden Mason's like, oh, there is a big boar. Like, scan to your left. And I scanned to my left. I'm like, oh, shoot, there was one in the trees that we didn't see. And it was a big, giant boar, all covered in mud. Like, super cool. He had a giant thing of mud on his tail, too, which made his like tail swing.
It was
really
not
weird.
mud.
Yeah, so that's what Mason said. I touched it.
Brady picks it up, and he's like, interesting mud ball he's got on his tail.
And that guy's like,
guys were like,
what are you doing?
That
is
might,
not mud.
That might be shit. It looks like clay. It looks like mud.
It's like one of those moments when your kid does something and
you're like, chocolate or shit? Which one is this?
So then again, though, like we're looking at these pigs and we're like, okay, we're trying to devise a plan, trying to figure where the wind is. And like all we have is a side hill with like canyons everywhere. And these pigs are right on that ridge line. And we're like, they could like basically like typically the pigs like to, did he say they go down on that area? So then they go around the corner and kind of go down. So like we'll just get over there and try to relocate them. But in the meantime, we have a ton of country to cover to get over there. And then we devised a plan and started hiking all the way through there. And I think you said you saw a pig on the ridge line, and it might have been a different group, which turns out it was a different group. But like you could run into pigs anywhere. And we're trying to be stealthy, trying to go up there. Didn't find that group that Lane saw. We're like, well, we still think these pigs might be down on this ridge line. So going down the ridge line, all of a sudden, boom, Mason stops us. Like they're right there in front of us. They're like 75 yards away. And all the herd, or again, sounder, sorry.
Yeah. I'm going to hold you true to the
hold me
technical
accountable.
terms.
The sounder group was right in front of us, and our big boar is right in the middle of them all. So we're like, okay, let's just back up a little bit, stay out of sight, and kind of get set up. So take our backpacks off. Took my rifle out, and we had good wind, which was really surprising. These pigs actually moved maybe 200 yards, 250 yards up the ridge instead of dropping down. They're just coming up the ridge on us. But this is a great thing about this group. I didn't say herd that time.
No, I'll take group. I'll accept group.
Group, okay.
Just not herd.
Pigs, like they actually stopped moving that much. I think it was getting later in the morning, so they were not cruising as much, and they kind of just like balled up underneath this tree, and we're kind of just feeding, like, and you could just see them just tearing up the ground. And when you see normal animals eat, you just like taking off tops of the grass or taking off part of the browse. Like these things are just, they're rooting. They're digging up the whole top layer of the vegetation
with tusks, just rooting in it with their tusks,
just rooting,
and whatever they can find to eat.
And so like this is the part which was interesting. So like we grabbed all our stuff. Obviously, you know, I wanted to still shoot prone, try to get the most stable position, but the way the hill laid in front of us, I couldn't lay prone to shoot. So I grabbed my
75 yards?
bipod is like 66. The actual shot was eventually, but the
66 yards?
Yeah.
Oh, that's way close.
Yeah, way
You
close.
shoot it offhand?
No, so I grabbed my
John Wayne style?
I grabbed my tripod and I was like, I want to make this the best shot possible. Like that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Like sure I could have stood up and probably shot that distance, but like it'd be more fun shooting off the tripod. So I set up the tripod, started slowly pulling with the legs. I'm trying to be like as stealthy as possible until I get to the point where I'm like kind of standing. And then we're just literally kind of standing with a bunch of trees behind us. And I still didn't put the tripod all the way up because I kind of wanted to be hidden a little bit. But now we're just guns locked on because I have a big arc rail in the front and just put it on the tricer tripod. And now we're just waiting. We got Joe behind, rolling camera.
Did you know that this was the one that Mason wanted to find?
Once we got all the way over there, he's like, that's split ear.
That's the one.
That's the one that has a split ear on it. That's the big
so
bore.
you did know.
We did know that. And I'm like, yeah, he's like, do you really want this pig? Like, we can kill him moving around. Like, no, this is the pig you sent me all the video of.
Yeah.
This is the pig I've been excited about for a month. This is the big one he said. And I'm like, I can see the tusks. I can literally see the tusks sticking out of the side of his face. Like, this is to me a big boar. Okay.
Where do you shoot a pig? Same spot? Behind the shoulder? Any different aiming?
I've always heard you want to go a little bit further back because of they call it like big giant shield that's on the side of their over their front shoulder.
They do a lot of fighting and hooking each other with tusks on their side.
Like you can see little scars on it. I think it's just beating each other up the whole time. It's like a lot of scar there. Maybe it grows that way too on general, but I've never shot a sow.
Did you have any question on where to aim, or were you just like
no? I'm just gonna put it behind the shoulder, but stay off. I want to stay off the shoulder.
Gotcha.
Like normally on like a deer or an elk, I'll put around or aim on the shoulder and just try to take out the shoulder because it'll take out their running gear basically and usually puts them down. But I was like, I'm just gonna hold it flat at the shoulder, and it's pretty close too. So I definitely feel confident of where I can put it.
It's gonna get it done.
It's gonna put it in there.
Yep.
But then this is where the funny thing is. We're all sitting up there waiting, and it was like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes at that distance of just waiting and waiting and waiting because all these pigs are in a giant ball moving around. All of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe you can take a shot now. I'm like, oh no, that was the sow walking behind it or another group of pigs, and now he's facing away from us, so I have no shot. And
he stood right in the middle the entire time.
Yeah, right in the middle of the whole group. And you can tell he's just like the dominant guy that's must have cruised in there for a little bit. And this is where we witnessed how young pigs can reproduce.
And often.
And often. Often, yes.
Just pigs being pigs, man.
Yeah, dinner and a show.
Yeah, so I'm just like sitting up there with the gun on. I kept like, the nice thing about it is I could like constantly aim, and I was constantly moving around, locking that tripod as tight as it can go so it wouldn't move. And I was like kind of fidgeting with it like I would if I was laying on the ground, trying to make the perfectly stable shot. And then, just eventually, after watching him, I was doing a little video on my phone too, like zooming in on him. And like every now and then I see like some of us moving around. I'm like, why are we moving around? I'm like, oh yeah, they're pigs. Like they really can't see us that much. Like we're all trying to hush and be quiet. And then we actually had some cattle come up too, which is kind of really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because like cattle, when they see you a lot of times, they're like, oh, what's this? And like we've seen some other instances, not up to this point yet, where like pigs kind of get by cattle, and then the pigs freak out and they'll run away, or then they might come back.
And we're disperse and come back. Yeah.
Like we don't want these cattle to spook the pigs. Eventually, the cattle started walking in front and like totally blocked my shot if I would have had one too. I'm like, of all things, like cattle, now we're gonna wreck it. And the way these pigs were set up, like if they ran to the right, no shot at all, because they would have gone off the other ridge and we have to relocate them. The left, I might have been able to move around and try to get another shot on them. But where they're at underneath this tree was just perfect. But after I said a little bit, the cattle finally moved away. Pig finally turned, gave me a perfectly quartered away shot, and I just put it right behind the shoulder. I was like, all right,
what'd you shoot for a bullet?
I was shooting that 7 PRC Sig Sawtooth, and then I had a 160 grain LRX Barnes all copper.
Do a number on it?
Did a number on it. Yeah, we joked it beforehand because I always like to name my rifles. Just random.
Not surprised.
Yeah, this is like good. It's one of those things. And I was like, I need to think of a name before I actually go on the hunt. So I was telling them like, yeah, these are like shooting some of the fastest rounds ever. Like I'm almost getting like 3,300 feet per second. Like I'm getting tons of velocity. And I'm like, velocity? That's a good name for a rifle. So I named my 7 PRC Velocity.
Velocity Miller. Full government name.
Yeah. So yeah, it packs a punch. Let's just put it that way. So shooting those 160 grains.
Were you surprised at how big they are when you get up to them?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did he run after the shot or did you drop him?
Oh, this is the not like best part, but it's like what you hope for. Let's just say. So yeah, I touched off the shot, 66 yards. Maybe it was like 67, something like that.
Yeah,
super close. Like instantly, I'm all locked in on the tripod. I could watch it impact him, and I could instantly say, "Oh yeah, he just started rolling right away. He was dead before he even turned and went
fully over.
Like he's going flipping all over the place because it was really steep on the backside.
Yeah,
he's just tumbling down the mountain, and then it's this chaos of just like pigs running everywhere. And we just sat there for a little bit and gathered our stuff and walked down. And the only reason he stopped where he did, because the boar got lodged between a giant boulder. And that's the only thing that held him up. Otherwise, he would have kept rolling down the mountain.
Going.
Yeah. And we're like, he would kept rolling too, because the weight of that and all that mass would definitely keep tumbling.
What's the butchering process look like? Did you get them out whole? You get them out whole, or you?
Yeah, when we're right there, we the guys Mason and Travis were like, "Dude, this pig is huge." And like you always hear people throwing around like, "Oh yeah, this is a 450-pound pig," or you talk about on black bears, "This is a 500-pound bear, 400-pound bear," but no one ever really knows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "How big do you think he is?" And they kept saying like, "Oh, he's probably around 300," but like it'd be so cool if we can get him on a scale and get him out whole, because like I want to do it. And I'm like, I think it'd be smart too. Like you obviously own this property, you're trying to do these hunts, like start to document all this stuff, like write it all down about things, and like if you can get a vehicle there, cool. And like that way you actually can know. That'd be better to judge later on for how big some of these pigs are you're going after. So he's like, "Yeah, I think we might be able to get a side-by-side close or over here." So I was like, "We can, if you guys are cool with it, let's try that instead of quartering it up. Like we're all game to quarter it. Like it's all we do all the time." So we just drug it basically. Well, they looped around. So they had like a 2.25 mile loop. They had to do all the way back to go get the side-by-side and the little Jeep thing.
Yep.
And then they looped around and actually found a little way to get it, some other little road to get the side-by-side up there. But we just drug it like, I don't know, 150 yards probably. We were able to get a hole in the side-by-side.
How big was it?
And so this is a funny thing. So we finally got back to the scale. And like I said, on the text, I actually have the text on there. He's like, "Yeah, this hog, it's probably 300 pounds. I'm like, 300 pounds? My text? I'm like, that's a giant hog. Like that'd be a dream hog to shoot 300 pounds. And we get it on the scale and we get lifted up. It goes 299.9.
Oh, wow.
Like Mason's spot on.
Put a little more mud in his tail.
Yeah. Well, I was joking and said, "Well, he's been dead now for like an hour, and I put such a giant hole into him, and he lost a lot of blood. You see blood everywhere. It was probably 300 pounds.
300-pound pig
with blood in it.
Round up.
How
big are their tusks?
Mine was 2 3/4, almost 3 inches on the one side.
And do they have bottom and top?
Bottom and top. And the tops, I'm not sure what the difference, I probably should have looked it up, what they call the top ones. But the top ones on this hog, I've never seen them that big before, because they wear their teeth next to each other to sharpen, just like a javelina does. And you got cut by yours. Yep. Still has it.
Really?
And like the sides are cut. Our sides are really sharp, like razor sharp. The tops are really sharp.
You're going to get some weird pig disease.
I know. Yeah. I've been watching it every day.
Swine disease.
Yeah. But it was cool. I've never shot a javelina or anything. So it's the first like pig I've ever seen. And so the bottom and the top have flat spots that this might be the exact same as a javelina, but that face each other. So as they're chewing and rooting around all day, they're just honing those, and they were really sharp. Like to the touch on the top, they had a point, and it was. You could see why. We'll probably talk a little more about the shield later, but why that's probably a evolution over time is because you could just, if one of them got mad at the other, you could just unzip it with one of those tusks.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
And that's what's cool. Like when you think about it, like you have teeth, but every single second you're sharpening them. Like literally every second of the day, every time they open mouth and close it, they're sharpening their teeth.
Just honing their tool.
Yeah.
It was really cool though. Like we had so much time to sit and watch them, to actually watch them root around and like use their head. You could see when they're putting their heads into the dirt and turning things up, and then they'd stick their little nose in there, which I think their nose is kind of their little feeler. Obviously they can smell really well, but it's really tender at the front, so I think it's kind of a little sensor. So it was really cool to watch them do their thing, just getting into the mud and kind of how they go about their day.
And they're just all muscle.
Yeah,
like they look like they don't have a neck, because like their neck is the same width as the whole
They're the trail
thing.
kreuzers of the animal species.
The what?
The trail kreuzers of the animal species.
They had a fat cap when you're skinning them out, though. I mean, they were super muscular, but had a lot of fat that
on their back,
you skinned with it. Yeah,
it's just all hard. It's like almost makes up that shield. It's like a weird combination of hide and fat, just beat up.
Thick hide.
we're talking about 2.5 inches.
The old pig skin.
Really?
Let's bring it back to football.
The old pig skin. We're not allowed to talk about that.
Call back. No, we're not.
You didn't bring some back to make a football out of for
That's the
Thanksgiving
last
Day
thing.
next year?
The skin was disgusting.
Really?
Brady's was clearly fresh out of like a mud pit or a wallow
Oh,
or
it
something.
stunk bad.
And you gotta, I mean, as we were getting close to it, it was like, okay, that's what a big one smells
They're
like.
pretty pungent.
Very pungent. And, you know, then you get it on your hands and they were making fun of me for wanting gloves. And I was like, I definitely
made fun of Lane for the
I don't think
gloves.
that's the worst idea ever, but based on what they smell like. But yeah,
And what was kind of crazy too is like while we're waiting for them to make their loop before we were dragging the boar down, the amount of ticks.
oh yeah,
Oh, really?
On it?
ticks everywhere, especially like
Gross.
in the
I hadn't
where it
thought
was
of that.
warm, like the folds of their ear and their, under their
Ticks.
like little armpits and stuff.
No
Reminds me
kidding.
of spring bear
Gross.
hunting again.
Ticks
Just
everywhere.
like
I hadn't thought of that.
yeah.
Did you guys
that's-
get any ticks on you?
No.
It was
They're not out yet.
And then the funny thing is that we saw the ticks on the face, and then like Joe really wanted to capture it for the film, like because just get ticks on there. And then we got it back and hanging it up. We couldn't find a single tick on it then.
Really?
There was at least 30 ticks on its face when we were out in the field, and then by the time we got back, there was no ticks. I'm like, what?
Are you guys sure you don't have any?
They're,
on you?
yeah.
I know they went
They're all in your
somewhere.
backpack.
They went
They're
somewhere. But I think that was really interesting though, because again, it's whole. Got it out whole, which is cool, and we had to take the side by side there and all that. But like getting to hang it up,
Yeah.
and getting to see the actual weight, that was a cool thing. Like I've
That
never
is
done
cool.
that.
It's really cool.
And then he's like, the one funny thing, I don't think it got on camera. He's like, you know how to do this, right? You're using one of those little devices to hook it through the hocks and like hang it up. I'm like, bro, I haven't done this in like 25 years. Hung a whitetail this way. Like I do. Like I know to cut the hawk right there and slide it in there, but I haven't done this in forever.
Yeah.
Like we don't hang things and cut them.
I thought they taught
only
you that
wish we could.
in preschool in Minnesota though, right?
That's like what they teach in preschool.
Preschool class in Minnesota.
like-
Yeah,
Shapes,
6 hours,
colors, and-
7th grade.
How to hang a deer.
Yeah. But then the front thing that I thought was really interesting. I mean, everyone is probably pig hunting knows this, and like obviously I'm not very experienced in it, but like the hide dulls blades. Like you need a metric ton of blades if you're going
I
out
bet.
there.
It was, yeah.
And like we
Scalpels.
had a couple fixed blades, and like it was just eating it up the blade. Like you were sharp, you almost going like 3 inches and having to sharpen again, and go another 3 inches and sharpening it. They're hot. Their hair is so coarse, and then they have just freaking mud everywhere on them. So like you have that dulling the blade, and then you're trying to get through the shield as well. Like it was probably one of the longest and hardest skinning jobs I've ever done. Because once you get down to that shield, we ended up having to cut giant chunks of the shield off and the hide shield area because it just like folds over and it's like a table. Like you could push on it and pull on it, but you can't get the hide to like pull and rip. Like we thought we could cut a giant hole in it and just grab onto it and rip like you could a deer, and just like pull the whole hide down. You can't do that on a hog. That shield is just so thick and ends up just folding over, and like it folds over and like goes out away from the pig. Like it doesn't just like fall
Flop.
down and like lay next to the pig. It's like it makes like a table.
It's not
Because
floppy at all.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that was one of the coolest parts of doing it, was seeing that shield. And
Yeah.
I'm glad we did that day, because I was like the next day
Taking out the bow.
Yeah, I was like, okay, no, I definitely did not want to hit that shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like Brady said. I mean, when he was skinning it, you're trying to get past it so that the whole thing will flip over, but you can't actually pull that. So it's just super rigid right there. And obviously it's a defense mechanism for the pig, but I've never seen anything like it. Nothing resembled it on a deer or an elk or anything
Nothing
like
does.
that.
How much meat do you get off of a 300-pound pig?
A lot, surprisingly, yeah.
You gonna burger it all?
I started making, well, yeah, I told them about my thing about how I grind back straps, and they're like, what? You grind back straps? I'm like, yeah, sometimes I just grind back straps. On deer and stuff. It's meat. You eat it anyway. I'm making this whole thing into sticks.
Oh, jerky?
No,
Or like-
sticks.
Tricky sticks.
Jerky sticks?
Jerky, no, like venison sticks. Sticks are not jerky.
Like pepper
sticks
sticks.
or jerky?
Like pepper sticks.
I think
Yeah.
jerks. I think sticks
Like
are
a
jerky.
Slim Jim?
That's jerky.
You don't think Slim Jim's jerky?
When I say jerky, that means half inch. You're putting in a smoker, that style thing. But like sticks are like combined in, and you have to like actually grind it first. Like you can make ground jerky
I've
as
always
well.
just called it jerky.
Jerky
You call
sticks.
sticks jerky?
Jerky sticks.
I think
Same,
we'll have to-
same,
same.
disease.
All right.
Same,
disease.
but different.
That's what you're gonna do with it all?
So I'm going to start calling all my meat just grind meat because it technically is same. So I technically can't hate me for
Have you
grinding
eaten
back
any
straps.
of it?
Not yet, no.
Gotcha. You?
I'm still in the process. Of
No,
cutting.
I haven't eaten any yet, but I think I'm going to bring some in, and Norris is going to make it on
Norris
Friday.
is
Norris, the guy that
Do
works
some
in
pork
front.
chops.
The javelina that Norris
Something.
made yesterday, the way he got a javelina to taste,
Yeah.
that guy can make anything good.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
What's the color like on the meat?
Pinkish.
Like pork?
It
Like
was,
you
it was,
buy at a grocery store, or is it more red?
No.
it was more red. It was
Gotcha.
definitely lighter than any ungulate, but it was so it was kind of in between,
Mm-hmm.
but more on the pink side.
Yeah.
What was it like spotting stalking with a bow?
Yeah, not to be a rifle hater, but how'd the bow go?
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. We saw him. I mean, we did the exact same
This is next day now?
next morning.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, they're pretty habitual.
Yeah.
Like they have these patterns that, like Mason had that place dialed.
Do
He
they,
was like,
do they have like trails that you can see, like that they like to stick to, like certain trails that you're picking up?
no,
Not really.
not that I picked up on, but
Interesting. Okay.
Like bison trails?
Yeah.
I mean, there's cattle
bears
everywhere,
at
but
bear
I never,
trails.
I never seen you walking on a cattle trail, but I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
yeah. So we did the exact same playbook the next day because my standards were going to be a little bit lower,
Yeah.
especially with a bow. So we got in there and saw them. They were actually on the road above the road when we were going in. The same thing. We heard them squealing and doing their thing. And so, we kind of took a look and saw that there was a couple boars that would do, and they made some pretty good time up the mountain. I don't know if they caught our wind or heard us rustling around
They're
or whatever.
so fast. Blows
But-
me away how much country they can cover.
Yeah, they were kind of scooting. So they basically went up and over onto this finger ridge that, and we kind of thought they were gone because it was really timbered on the sides of it. So we walked up, kind of saw them, didn't really think it was going to work out. And so we continued up the mountain, which actually kind of was this bowl that went around so we could look back in on the other side. And so, we were working off the theory that they never really stopped moving and figured they were just going to go up and get into this dense timber like Mason said they do most mornings. And we'd sit and watch them and think they could go down and up to the side we were actually on. So we sat and watched them for a while, and they were kind of in and out of that dense, thick stuff. But by and large, they just kind of stayed up on this finger ridge. And so Brady had unstrapped the rifle for me and was hinting at like, that's a pretty doable shot.
Because I
trying
had
to talk
to
you
take
into
my
it.
pack off to get the spotter out. So I was like, well, now the rifle is
Those
out.
rifle
I ranged
guys,
them,
yeah.
and I was like, they're in range.
Hey, we could have done this like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Conversion rate is so much higher with a rifle.
About to convert all these things, but Brady's pulling out the Swaro, by the way, the 115 or whatever.
Yeah.
Making sure
Eyes
we
of
get a
God.
dang good look at it.
Not
So-
surprised.
So we sat and we were 5 minutes away from them, and so we just said like, if they're gonna stay there and kind of go in and out of the trees and not move down, the whole group, let's just go around and see if we can take a swing at them. So that's what we did. We went around and got in. Same thing. We got some cattle in between us and the pigs, and Mason's like, okay, no eye contact with the cows. If you make eye contact with them, you'll freak them out. Just no eye contact. So we were, we tried to do that.
Does that
and
work universally?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but it didn't work for us because they just bumped right into these pigs, and the pigs didn't really care. I don't think like they heard the cows, like the footsteps, and they kind of dispersed. And so what they told us the day before, and I tried to kind of keep this in my mind, archery hunting them, is they were like, they don't see very well, but they do see movement. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were kind of trying to get a good vantage point on that finger ridge, and they kind of caught me right out in the open in the sun. And so, but that proved to me that
We're going to call you the pig spooker.
Yeah.
They call me the elk spooker, so you can be the pig spooker.
well, so they kind of did spook, but that to me reinforced that they don't see very well because they saw a little bit of movement, but they jumped down into the, I don't even know what kind of trees those were, pretty thick, but then they kind of came right back out because the wind was okay. It was kind of swirling, but so they came out and you could see them kind of putting their noses up and trying to figure out
what was going on.
Was that a cow or is that something we need to be scared of?
They just have this image of a pig, like testing the
Yeah.
wind with its nose
Little
up.
lip curl.
It's little folded over ears,
Yeah.
tusks sitting out.
Yeah,
It's
and they're
just
kind of
like,
stocky. They kind of lean forward like, and so
I don't know why that one kind of leaves a funny image in my mind.
yeah, and there was a handful of them kind of all facing us. And
How
so
close?
I think the closest one was like 20 something yards.
Oh, they're close then.
Yeah, they're close. And so Joe has this video. I'm kind of behind a tree, like looking out, seeing what's going on. But this challenge with that, A, is they weren't broadside, and B, I couldn't really identify like boar or sow. And when you see a boar broadside, they have this, like, I think they called it the penis sheath. It's just a tuft of hair that comes down. It's kind of a dead giveaway. And I was doing that more than, it's either that or the testicles. And
when they turn looking away from you, you can definitely tell it's a boar.
Yeah.
They got a pair.
Oh yeah.
They're like a sheep.
Yeah. I mean,
Think a big
It's
orange
on the
sheep.
same scale as a sheep, really?
But it's just more gross looking.
it's got more of like a human looking skin, if that makes sense.
Oh man.
And so you're kind of like, dude,
Okay,
like,
I'm not going pig
cover
hunting.
those things up. That's indecent. Yeah. So anyway, so they were facing us, and they kind of got uncomfortable and went into the trees, and so we looked down the ridge, and there was more. Actually, the same thing as the day before. We looked down the ridge, and I was like not sure if these were cattle or pigs because I didn't have a great look at them. And then kind of below them, another little piglet starts humping another one, and it's like, okay, well, there's more down there. And so, we kind of just from there got on the other side of the ridge, got in close to them, and I tried to.
Are you walking at them, or are you like on all fours sneaking on them?
No, I was walking.
You're
so
walking.
we got
Using topography.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to a point where we thought we could come up over the side and probably see them. And that's what we did. And it was the same challenge, whereas couldn't see if there were boars or sows. And you could kind of see the tops of their backs. And so we just sat there and, for the last 20 minutes, they had just gone in and out from those trees. And so combining the thought that they'll see you if you're moving, but they won't see you if you're standing still, and the fact that they're going to keep moving.
Explain your reference to a great movie. You guys that you said right there.
What?
Your reference to a movie, one of my favorite movies.
I don't know.
Jurassic Park.
Wicked.
They're like a T-Rex.
They're like a T-Rex?
Yeah.
I didn't say
in the
that.
scene where I know what you're
I
talking
didn't
about.
say
T-Rex's
that.
vision is based on movement. They won't see you if you're not moving.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The pig's vision is based on movement. They won't see you. Like you guys made that reference at one point.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was a Jurassic Park reference.
It's a Jurassic Park reference.
But yeah, we basically concluded if we're not moving, got in the shade. I was like, if I'm not moving, I'm in the shade. Chances are one of these things is going to feed out based on what they had been doing all morning, and that the wind was pretty good. So that's about it. I mean, the first boar fed out, and I kind of looked back. Mason was behind me, and he gave me the thumbs up. Like, that's when we're ready for. And so it was kind of right into the sun. The sun was still fairly low. I think it was before 8 o'clock when we shot, but that was it. Kind of drew back. He fed out.
How far?
It was 35.
Okay.
So he kind of I drew back. He kind of fed out and stopped and touched one off. And it was really cool because with the sun that low, I watched the arrow go right in, kind of lit up the fletchings and punched him. And I was pretty.
What kind of broadhead did you shoot?
I was shooting him with I might get hate for this, but a Rage, a hypodermic.
It's all right. How did it do?
It did really good. I mean,
Big mechanical guy.
That's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. How does that
Mechanicals
work?
don't do that on.
if I was with an actual hunting guide, it wouldn't have performed worth a shit. But out on my own, no. So I avoided that shield. I was kind of nervous when it hit because it was coming down, and so the fletching when it hit, the fletchings were up a little higher. And I was pretty nervous that I hit that shield, and I was also really nervous that it was going to start squealing because they're kind of emotional little guys, and
Yeah.
So it hit a little bit lower than the shield, and it was pretty perfect.
How much penetration did you get?
It went into the offside shoulder,
Oh, gotcha.
and then we have video of it, but it actually worked its way back out. So we have it got pretty good lung. We have some video of like how far it went in, which suggested to me it went into the offside shoulder, covered in lung blood. And so he wheeled and kind of ran, and we heard a bunch of kind of ruckus, but it was like, we don't know if this is all these pigs running away or what, but it was thick and steep on the other side. And so I don't know, when this video comes out, you can probably see in my face is the classic, like in between shooting an animal and finding it. It's like, I just don't like this feeling.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I
just
just
hate
don't
that
like this
feeling.
And I was, and we watched the shot back and couldn't really tell, like it looked good. But it couldn't really tell like if we got the shield or not. We couldn't tell how much penetration there was. But anyway, we went and got our stuff, came back, and Joe, the cameraman, was like, I found blood. And we didn't know he was going to go down and look. And so he found blood, and he's like a bloodhound or something. He was just like, there. There wasn't a ton of blood, but he was like, there. And then we found the arrow.
The funny thing is like I was standing up to the side, and at one point I made a comment like, I'm sure people are going to hate on me because I'm just really standing with my hands
Brady
in my
looks
pockets.
so uninterested.
Because I'm like, guys, I just can't see. I can't see blood. I'm
Can't see
colorblind.
red.
I'm colorblind. I'm no use right now to you guys at all.
I'm here for the hang.
I'm just hanging out. Like,
I'm the vibes guy right now.
I'm like, I'm gonna
vibes
stand
out.
off to the side so I don't wreck the blood trail, and I'm not gonna wreck anything because I am useless in this situation.
Yeah.
Just absolutely useless.
Yeah. So from there it was pretty. I think he probably only went 100 yards, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
something like that. So he kind of ran and tumbled off into a bush, but that was like the best case scenario because if he got a little bit further, it was pretty steep where he died, but it got much steeper, and it would have been like, we got to look all day for this thing.
Roll to the bottom.
He could have rolled to the bottom, or he could have gotten hung up at any point between there and then. So
he almost buried himself in that brush, dude. Like it was kind of hard to see.
Yeah. No, there's obviously no antlers, no white patches. It was kind of dark in there, I guess, to begin with. So, but we got pretty lucky and found him right away. So
how big a pig?
I think he was about 200 pounds. So he was meaningfully smaller than Brady's.
200 pounds
still
is
a
still a
big-ass
big
pig, though.
pig, man.
He was
200 pounds?
I mean, I don't know if
They look big.
I'll bet.
I don't know if the guys were trying to make me feel better or what, but they were like, no, that's a pretty respectable one.
Yeah.
And my
Respectable pig, like a respectable pig.
respectable pig.
The two of them hang out together.
And they said, you'll get a lot of meat off him. He'll taste good. All that. So I was thrilled.
Yeah,
I
that's
hadn't-
awesome with a
hadn't
bow.
had much luck with a bow in the last few years. So.
Also, the first one ever on that place with the bow.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
People have tried before, but
Yep.
haven't. So
Yeah, they showed us a video of a guy shooting one with a longbow,
Ooh.
and he hits it in the shield, and the arrow bounced off of it.
legit bounces off.
Bounced
Just
off.
boink.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Fun bow hunting?
It was a really fun bow hunt. It was kind of a
Is it a hunt you'd do again?
oh, absolutely,
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd do it every year. And pigs for me, pigs and aoudad were kind of up on the list of things I haven't done that I would really like to. And they can both be logistically kind of challenging if you don't know the right people. So I was super thankful to do it, and no shade on people that shoot them out of a feeder or a chopper or something like that. But the kind of mountain hunting environment was cool. Like it was exactly how I would have.
Yeah, because that's kind of the style this weed was like. Yeah, you can kill them any other way, and every way is fine to kill them. But like we want a certain.
Do you have
hunt.
any kind of gauge on how much it would cost somebody that would to go do a pig hunt on a private piece of property? Like I don't think this individual doesn't, but like other pieces, what does a pig hunt run?
$1,500 to $2,000.
So $2,000?
Yeah.
It's not crazy.
That's a lot of people
It's
are
really
charging.
not.
I think if you live in states or like in the Southwest where it can be hard to get, I mean, Nevada's obviously a super hard one, and you just want to go have success and you're playing the Colorado OTC game or something, and that's going to run you $800 or $1,000. I think it's a pretty viable option to see a bunch, probably have success, have a fun hunt,
Get some reps.
take home a bunch of meat. I think that's a good way to start into
Yeah.
hunting, or to do something in the off season, or like for me, I wanted to take the bow out because I had a tough last couple of years bow hunting, so it was fun.
And get that confidence back.
Get the confidence back up. Yeah,
That's real.
I mean,
It
if
is
I
real.
could just not smell too bad and not move too much, probably have some success there and make a good shot. So yeah, it was great. It was a privilege to go do it, and
And
super
their
thankful.
place, phenomenal, amazing dudes like Mason and Travis. My gosh,
Yeah, awesome guys.
solid humans. Like we got to hang out. Obviously, hanging out at the house every night and talking to them on the hunt and leading up to it. Like they care. They care about wildlife. They care about making it better.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like stuff he's doing, like for turkeys and all that in the state. Like it's pretty cool the level of time he devotes into wildlife,
Yeah.
not just on his own place, but just a betterment of the whole area too. Of like, just cares about wildlife. It's cool to meet people like that.
Yeah.
So does this change your opinion as a whole about California and applying in California?
Well,
Do you have any interest in hunting deer?
Here's the thing.
That's the thing.
We don't talk a lot about California, for rightly so, because most of the time the draws, like we're probably talking about, it's very hard to draw tags. One elk tag, one antelope tag for non-resident.
Non-residents, yep. 2 sheep tags?
What?
2 sheep tags
Yeah.
can be allocated to non-residents, which I've never applied in California, but I started looking at it. They're going to randomly allocate 2 sheep tags to non-residents. The cost to apply, you have to buy a hunting license, which is $216 plus an app fee. But in reality, it's like another chance to apply for sheep if desert sheep is on your list.
Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it's always hard for people to justify, I think, because of all that. But like residents, non-residents buying the same pool for deer,
Yep.
which is cool. There's no resident, breakdown.
split.
Some split there. there's a lot of hunts that are actually really doable that take less points. There's a ton of over-the-counter opportunities. There's a lot of over-the-counter deer. You have, archery. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the rifle. Over-the-counter bear hunting. Yep. Yeah, you can't use, dogs in spring season and all that stuff. But, like, it's a lot. It's up over the counter, turkeys, everything you can do. And it's like, this is hard to justify. Okay, we're going to spend a hunting license, and like, do you build points in, or you just try to do over counter stuff? But if your person just wants a hunting opportunity, like, why not California? Like, I've always said, I want to shoot a true blacktail,
Colombian.
And like, I've always thought California could be a cool place. I want to shoot a mule deer in every state, so I really want to shoot a mule deer in California as well. So like, I've never crossed it off, but like, I don't prioritize. California, but like,
it's like one of those things. Like, how do you drive from Utah to California to hunt mule deer when maybe you can hunt mule deer in Utah or Colorado or something like that?
The thing that really excites me though is like that challenge though of like, I know it's probably gonna be hard because like I've seen the harvest stats. Like, it's not a gimme in a lot of those areas, and it's like you can make
There's
it a really hard
country in California.
Yeah, you can make some of those easy draw over the counter stuff like really, really challenging backpack hunt, and it's hot and different terrain that I'm used to, and maybe low deer numbers and all that, and like dealing with what they deal with always. And it's like, I think it'd be an awesome hunt. I really do.
So it could be like one of those things, like on a year like this where you guys bought hunting licenses to then go out and hunt pigs. And I use the same justification for like the state of Utah. It's you buy that $120 hunting license in Utah to apply for any and all species, with kind of knowing that your really only opportunity is general season deer, maybe every 4 or 5 years, right? Yeah. So maybe it's the same kind of thing. Maybe you go on a hog hunt in California, and the years that you do, you end up applying and using your license to the maximum that you can, apply for any and all species.
And I love bear hunting.
Yeah.
It's a closer bear hunt than a lot of other things for a lot of people. And,
my understanding is they have a decent number of bears.
They have a lot of bears.
Yeah. And we saw, on the ranch, you should talk about his kind of approach to the deer that were on the ranch, but we saw a few bucks while we were there that would get you excited.
Oh, they got me really excited. He's like, really? Those are big deer? I'm like, yeah, those are big deer. You got to think about too the area you're at. Yeah. There's like,
muleys?
He said they're potentially a blacktail mule deer hybrid.
Interesting.
Some bench legs.
Good bucks, huh?
Good bucks.
Good bucks.
And 140s type deer, 150 deer.
Yeah.
Like most people be tickled about trying to shoot a deer like that.
For sure.
And he had, what did he say, 20, 25 trail cameras on the place too. Yeah. And so we sat down one night, and I think we have some of this that we can show whenever we put this film together, but he sat down one night and just flipped through all the wildlife on the cameras, and there was some really nice bucks. Really interesting genetics of some of the deer that he's like trying to preserve some and get rid of some. And so, I know the deer there, it was kind of a sanctuary for him. And he did definitely tell us that public's a little more competitive, although there are some people shooting nice bucks. But it was awesome just to see what it could produce. And I think there's plenty of feed for him. I think there's some predators obviously, but what he had there was he was kind of managing on a 5-year plan, but was going to be a pretty special deer hunting spot, I think.
There's a lot of public land though in California. I was looking at a map yesterday, and there's a lot of those units that've got a lot of public land.
Yeah, like there's a lot of hunting opportunity there. Yeah. I think, like, it is hard to swallow. Like, I'm going to California. People just hate the idea of going to California.
You get a Disneyland vacation and a deer hunt in the same trip.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people hate the idea of using copper, but like you have to use copper if you're a rifle hunter.
Sure.
So that's a big deal to some people, and some people just hate the idea of doing that. But
Lorenzo, are you convinced?
No.
Not at all.
We'll see how he does after Norris makes these tacos on Friday.
That's a hard laugh. Really, not at all.
Sheep? No, I am for sure. Any opportunity with a bow that's outside of season, like I always gauge things by, is it going to take away from the things that I really want to do?
Right.
And granted, I'm trying to draw tags. Maybe I don't, but still, I don't want to like do anything to get in the way of that. But this being in February, March, whenever, like, yeah, I would be all for taking out the bow and going to try to kill a pig. All for it.
Yeah, it's cool when you can do things, like I said, that doesn't impede your normal fall.
Yeah.
But it's still practice, it's still glassing, it's testing gear.
I'm always looking to extend my season.
Yeah.
Always. I don't care what it is.
It's funny, too, the four of us, I'm sure there's a lot of people that listen to this. They're from Texas or the South, or they have a lot of hogs. Same with California. They're probably like, these morons. Like, But reality is, anytime you can get out and hunt new country with a new species, there's just something magical about it. It's just fun. Yeah, just getting to learn and see a new country and a new species. And
I think it takes too, you get to meet cool people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
we met some awesome people there, and it's like that was the coolest thing to me is you meet someone who's like, yeah, you're hunting with them and you're obviously friends, but like, dude, like probably lifetime friends. Like, those really,
for sure.
really good people meeting them.
Yep,
that's cool.
And you talk about different hunting styles, and he's just kind of getting into it a little bit too. So like, really cool to see.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna boil the school?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
I got Calvin and Robin from Trophy Room Text. They're coming down tomorrow. We're going to finish up the second half of the elk video that we're doing, how to mount an elk. Yeah. And then we're going to
have them do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one I killed in New Zealand. It's like one of my favorite skulls ever.
Really?
Yeah, it's such a cool looking skull.
I'm interested to see how it looks once it's kind of beetled out, but where that top tusk grows, there's this big, like, I don't even know how you describe it, this big bone or piece of bone around it where it grows out of. And so they're going to make a really cool, like Euro mount.
It's a cool skull.
Yeah. And that's what I was really mad about the one I shot when I was younger is like, I got it shoulder mounted.
Yeah.
And I was really excited to get the Euro back too, but the taxidermist magically lost my skull.
Of course.
So I just have the shoulder with the fake teeth in it. And
Did you think about mounting this pig?
No.
You're breaking the Brady cycle.
I know. My taxidermist bill is.
Why don't you do a full body mount?
Oh, you take a look at that skin and hair, and you're like, I'm not.
And we started skinning. I was like, yeah, this would take forever to try to skin for a mount. Like,
you could mount it with like a mongoose and have Pumbaa and
Timon and Pumbaa.
Timon and Pumbaa.
I think a Euro would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. That sounds like fun.
I eat the meat too. So
yeah, I am too. I'm interested to see how it tastes.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. It didn't. Once we got the hides off of him, mine didn't smell at all because he wasn't walling around. But once we got the hides and everything off of him, it smelled fine. I think it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, we should know. So application deadline, if you want to apply in California, it's in June, typically the first part of June. And as part of your insider membership, you guys can dive into California. You can read the application strategy article, kind of read the ins and outs of how their draw is conducted. Like I said, probably the biggest hurdle for that is you have to buy a hunting license, which is like $216 for non-resident. I don't know though, for guys I bet you there aren't that many non-residents that apply for species in California.
Yeah,
I'd have to look at the odds actually. See, I'm sure they're terrible for sheep, or they
but
give.
But by the numbers, I bet it's pretty low comparative to other.
I agree. I bet you there's less people that apply in California than there are for Montana or Arizona.
For sure.
Other states that have bighorn sheep species. So it'd be interesting to look at. But yeah, do some research. And sounds like you guys are you're gonna apply this year at least anyway. Huh? I know Brady's got points. You know Brady has points in California.
I'm not surprised.
Preference points.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I do.
He has points everywhere.
I know.
I carry a lot of points. That's why some days I'm going to look like I'm a really good elk hunter trail because I'm just going to have all these big bulls because I just stack elk points in there.
That's good.
Don't burn them until
I'm going to look like a really good deer hunter one of these years.
You do look like a deer hunter. I've seen your trophy room.
Yes, that's good. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate you guys coming on. Lane, we're glad to have you down in Vegas. I'm only down here once a week, but it's good to see you.
Oh,
it's
amazing having him here.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. So anything else? Any other famous last words?
No, I did get a lot of messages, and like some of them were public facing, some of them were DMs like, dude, you can finally come out and hunt bears or hunt blacktails and hunt something in California. It seems like a lot of people are hyped for us to go to that state and hunt. Like, I know it's gonna be a challenge. I think that's probably why they want to see it too. Like,
when can we commit you to hunting mule deer?
I know. I gotta see what my schedule looks like and see if I can actually do something.
We'll do the old Mormon missionary hard commit right here.
Yeah.
Brady, will you hunt deer?
I will. I gotta see what. The nice thing too, if I don't draw something, I can fit it in.
Yeah,
but I might have a hunt coming up that I'm trying to figure out how I can do. But like, if I can fit it in this year, I'm gonna try to do it this year. I'd love to.
Nice.
I'd love to do it, even though I know it's gonna be different, smaller, whatever. It's a new adventure, new country, new mountains. And I need a mule deer in every Western state. So,
right on.
Gotta start knocking
You heard
off.
it here.
You heard it here.
We look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
And I just want to talk about it and how Lorenzo hates California. So it'll be like
I love the people outside of LA and California. Yeah, I'm all for it.
And
the
state
thing is itself.
The other thing that's funny, but before we close up here, is like we were joking, like how many people who live in California have seen places this gorgeous before that live in California all the time?
Like,
I don't think they get out of the
1%.
city.
No,
it is pretty. When we went down there turkey hunting, it's gorgeous. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
country.
gorgeous.
You get north of LA.
Yeah,
and all
wine
that
country
stuff.
was incredible.
Yeah,
it was
amazing.
so pretty.
That's part of my frustration with it. Honestly, is it has so much
potential.
good quality.
Yeah,
but then it just gets ruined.
Yeah, I was texting my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know if I remember leaving. She's like, what? Like, you're gonna stay in California forever? Like, wow, this is a new side of Brady I've never seen. I'd be like, well, this place right now, and just like how gorgeous it is, and how
Look, and I'm not the only one. It was voted the worst place to live out of all 50 states. Okay, I'm not the only one. So everyone picking on me can go pound sand. Like, it really is a shit state. I like the people, the people that do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the first time I had to pay like $20 for parking at a kid's basketball game, I was over it. I'm like, what?
Just everything there. It's like, what the...
It does have a lot of potential.
It's amazing. It's unbelievable country. My dad is from Northern California. Like, my family still farms in Northern California. I like the people. It's just the state itself is insane.
Our sample size was small, but the guys we stayed with were awesome, salt of the earth dudes.
That's all
just amazing people. So
pretty cool.
Thanks again for having us out. If you're listening.